across the map, all smoked up G2.iG, and no smoke from Team Turtle, interestingly enough. I don't understand the reasoning for this sometimes, because throughout this entire qualifier, it's like 5v5 smoke, get out to get your wards. Why have Team Turtle not smoked?
Maybe they just feel like their level 1 team fight isn't quite as strong as G2.iG's. You know, you're going up against an Enchantress, a Weaver, a Plasma Field. I don't think he's put a point in Cinderbrew just yet, but I'm expecting that from JT to come through. And you're just going up against like a Willow, not that strong, OD, not that strong, AM, really not strong, level 1. And you're not wanting to put a point into Blink level 1 either. So they're just playing around these cliffs, right? Constantly moving, making sure that if there is a smoke that does break, they're going to be able to back off.
Right, what's this AM got? Mana Thirst. Oh, yes.
And now they go for their smoke. So this is another one of those things where you can just wait it out as well, right? And then know that you've got a little bit of that extra, perhaps vision advantage. Somnus looks like if he does move forward, it's going to pop the smoke for JT. And JT doesn't want to take that extra step. Although...
Yang, taking a ton of damage in a 1v4 where he's just been surrounded and killed. G2.iG, kick it off with a kill on that Centaur.
That's huge, actually. Like, I know First Blood means it's good. It's not the be-all and end-all. But First Blood in this lane, even if it's only, 25 XP that Xnova and Monet get from that, it's still a little bit of a lead that you're going to have going up against this Centaur who doesn't have any armor purchased up. He's going straight into those braces. So Xnova didn't go the Blightstone, but if Monet is able to hit up onto that level 2, Yang is really going to be in danger.
Well, like you said, that race to level 2, and also the little bit of extra money going to Baboka, right? Getting faster into the boots. Always nice to have on that position for Tiny to kind of accelerate you towards the Blink Dagger that little bit quicker. Yeah, I'm busy over here reading tooltips, Danog. You know, Anti-Mage, not a hero that we've seen. He's going to come out and play here with Mana Thirst, increasing attack damage when an enemy hero's mana falls below 60%. And if enemies' mana falls below 15%, Anti-Mage gains the maximum amount of damage as well as vision and true sight of that hero. That's a lot of words there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it feels pretty good, but it does... it's linked with the Mana Void, right? I don't think you actually get it base, so you're not going to have it for the laning stage, which I think would make AM a much, much more usable pick. Because then, well, you just can't have it like... You can't pick any sort of hero that needs to use mana to be able to get last hits if that's the case, right? Like, if you're falling below 60% mana, that's still, you know, pretty high mana, and if you're falling just below that, it's like, well, okay, you're going to lose out on trades by 20 damage now. You know, it feels kind of insane.
So that's within a 2,500 range. I was like, is this global? Is it like Bloodseeker Thirst? Nah, it's basically within a lane's reach of you. Mm-hmm. And so far, just zapping away at JT's Brewmaster down there. He's got himself his first bracer, but he's being dragged back into this Chalice. AM, Blood Grenade, trying to cinder brew and clap himself away with the help of the Avalanche. They turn onto Picho here, and this Bane, he's dead. 2 kills in this early portion of the game for G2.iG, and Chalice, they're just being harassed out of lane by Baboka's Tiny.
I love people that, like, obviously the First Blood has enabled him to do this, but this Null Talisman is going to give Baboka so much value, right? Like, just constantly having that mana regeneration, especially against an anti-mage lane, just for a lot of stats. Of course, you're going to be eventually building into stuff like that Blink Dagger to be able to, you know, just frequently have that Avatos combo, not have to spend a little bit more money on stuff like Clarities and that sort of stuff. And eventually, of course, it's going to scale as well beyond that 25-minute mark, so it feels quite nice.
That's a cool pickup with that First Blood money. He gets handed his allowance, immediately invests it. I'm still trying to chip away at this Brewmaster. JT getting blinked on here, completely out of mana now, but he's pretty speedy, waddling himself back to the Lotus Pool. And Avalanche gonna do a lot of damage to Chalice here with that tree grab as well. Yeah, this double melee lane actually proving to be quite powerful, you know, with that First Blood, now with the aggression coming out. And Picho's got his work cut out for him on this Bane.
It's a great equalizer, isn't it? The First Blood to be able to fix that up. I think they know that without Baboka having too much mana, they're not really in the best position to be able to go for these frequent trades. And I saw him, you know, get a few hits onto Picho before. Doesn't feel that great, right? He's got 2 points in the brain sap. All of those right clicks are just going to be nullified by a single one of those. So, yeah, I want to see even more emphasis be put onto Chalice, who looks like he's feeling like he needs to brawl pretty soon as well. He's got an Orb of Venom queued up just to be able to go for these consistent chases. And I think it was... Oh, hold on, Monet. Top side should be able to get away. I think it was Team Turtle that we saw do this previously as well. The Bane Willow combination with the Sleepwalk to basically guarantee that you're going to move from one Bramble into another.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I saw the Observer there looking at the crash landing and the level 2 avalanche. No points in toss yet for the Tiny. I'll get there later on, obviously. As Planet steps up to try and kill off the Harpy, but X-Nova is going to be able to micro that back behind tower. A wave dragged under the tier 1 as well, so safe farm here for Monet.
I haven't really been talking about mid too much, but nothing to say, he's doing a really good job. Again, he does have 2-point static link, basically forcing the Astral Imprisonment to be used a little bit more, I guess, for defensive purposes. Yeah, you see, like, you want to have that Astral to be able to use to enable yourself to get denies and last hits, more importantly, onto those range creeps, right? But if you do that, then it means nothing to say can just walk on forward, get a big static link onto you, and then provide a bit more harass going back the other way.
Oh, a TP back all the way to Fountain there from Yang. Planet looking to body block up that small camp. Has a sentry down from X-Nova as well, so he's going to be a little confused about that whole situation. Well, down at bottom, Chalice. He's going into his treads. Orb of Venom's still queued up, but he's not buying it up just yet. We'll see if he can...
Sorry, I'm just having a look at... we know Brewmasters like going the Radiance. Do you think Rapier is the first quickfire that JT really wants to go this game?
I think that was a little misclick. Just a little misclick.
Maybe he just typed in RA in his search bar, you know, and that's what came up.
Yeah, just click the first thing. I don't know how he's done that. Just looking for another relic item. Quick Shadow Realm out of the Willow. Get out of that Empather's shot from the Enchantress. I mean, coming up to 6 minutes, now thinking about what we were saying in the draft, Team Turtle have put a lot of emphasis into helping Somnus in that mid lane. But currently, they're kind of embroiled in these side lane shenanigans where Bane has to stay down here. So it's just the one support to move mid. Planet goes across on that Dark Willow to try and secure the rune. But X-Nova's Enchantress is up top guarding the top rune. And it's going to be an arcane that the Razor can pick up.
Yeah, I really like this as well. You know, we mentioned in the draft that this isn't really the style that G2.iG like to play around too much, right? It's much more about enabling the side lanes a little bit more, leaving nothing to say on a bit of an island for himself, who he does have quite low mana right now. So I was thinking, are you in a position to be able to go for that Sanity's Eclipse? But Somnus, he didn't have too much mana himself. He's hit up onto his level 6 prior to the Razor, but he's suffering a little bit, at least, in terms of his net worth. Just looking to see if there's any stacks, but maybe it's going to be a full-on move around to contest the Wisdom Rune, even? Look at this move from Razor.
Look at him go. Yeah, sprinting all the way across the map. 7 minutes coming up in 10 seconds, and probably going to get a kill on Yang as well. So many victories here from G2.iG. Planet has come in with Somnus, though, to battle around the Wisdom Rune. Impetus shots and the Centaur Stomp. Wisdom Rune denied by X-Nova. Nothing to say he's going to die here to Somnus, but not before they've claimed 2 lives, denied the Wisdom Rune. As X-Nova, he's trying to slip away here with the TP scroll ready, but Somnus, quick on his tail, coming around the tree line, has to Astral, does get stomped up, and the damage from his Centaur is pretty freaking incredible. Finally, it expires, and X-Nova will TP out, but Somnus, it felt like he should have had a freebie there and gets turned around on by that little Enchantress.
Yeah, the raindrops really helping there, right? Just nullifying a lot of the damage coming through from the Astral Imprisonment. I really like that rotation through from Somnus. Obviously, he needed to be able to try and protect the Wisdom Rune. Didn't pay off, and we know how important those ultimate timings are for both of these supports. Picho, he's still having a pretty fine time, right? Level 4 3/4. Only just hitting up onto almost level 4 right now on Planet, though, and he is the one that you need to be making a lot of plays around him and the Centaur, right? Their level 6s are going to be so vital for Team Turtle to get out on the map and make anything happen. Not exactly the strongest tower pushes on any of their heroes either.
And they're just going to get run out in this top lane now. And Planet level 4, Observer Ward basically placed on his head as a Warpine Raider Enchantress comes across, pushes into tier 1. I should have a D-Ward on that Obs, but Planet's probably going to die before he gets a chance to do it. But Boka's arrived with a Razor. Surround them and kill them.
And just the fact that they made that movement when Monet is just hitting into the tower, you've got the Siege Creep wave alive, and of course X-Nova just able to convert one of those melee creeps and let that tank up a lot of the damage. This is... IG are on point. They are feeling themselves today, and I like this. I like this start to the draft. I feel like they've countered exactly what Team Turtle were trying to do to them with their own version of it. Just something that's a little bit more early game oriented.
Yeah, going up against the Grim Reaper, you've got your invisibility cloak on, trying to hide away from him. So far, it's working out. 5-1 with a 2k lead, farming an enemy triangle already. And Enchantress just sets up base camp here with Baboka. And now pivot into mid. Now you've cleared out top, plenty of space there for the Weaver to farm through. Now your two supports can kind of rotate and roam around where they so desire. And it feels like JT's Brewmaster, he's been left alone for a little bit here against an AM and a Bane. And yes, you are free farming on the Anti-Mage, but the Brewmaster is top of the net worth right now.
He's feeling pretty good as he works his way towards the Rapier first item. I mean, it's all about the value for him, right? He even, purchased up a Wraith Band for himself, realizing that, he's going to need that a little bit more just for more easy trading in this lane. He might actually be looking to go for another kill here.
Well, there's Sanity's Eclipse dropped on them with the Astral and the damage out of the OD. Clearing out X-Nova, turning onto Baboka, Somnus, dishing it out, but they've got a Primal Split and a Monet Weaver arriving on the scene of the crime to kill the OD off now. Turn onto Planet with a Shadow on TP, though. Away she goes back to safety. There's nothing to say. Looks over Chalice's Anti-Mage, who has now nothing to do but migrate away from that bottom lane. A refugee from his own land having to head up to top.
I think IG are going to be pretty happy with that, right? Like, you lose two supports, sure. There was a kill that Somnus was able to get on Baboka, sure. But Monet gets the kill, they get involved, and all the while there was a creep wave underneath that bottom tower that was just dying and taking the tower itself. So it's another little bit of map objective that they've been able to open up for themselves. It means that this slower paced, greedier draft that Team Turtle have gone for is going to be a little bit more susceptible to being punished. At least they were able to clear out that siege creep in the mid lane, so they're not going to immediately be able to make any sorts of moves around there, but you're getting into the point where Tiny's almost level 6. He's going to have a little bit more of that that damage amp buff coming from the toss, and of course with a crash landing, as they're looking to just find on more, and they're going to find Yang.
He's a tanky boy, but yeah, when you've got 3 heroes on you, 2 of them cores, all your HP just disappears. Yeah, it's a long time for this Anti-Mage to be ready to fight. This is, like you're saying, very much a greedy, mid to late game draft from Team Turtle. Lanes were meant to go much better than this for them, right? To kind of get themselves into a good spot once you get into 20 minutes.
I'd say bot lane in particular, right? That's the one that they were really looking to get a few more kills out there. Sure, you died once on Baboka down there, I believe, and that's going to hurt a little bit, but he's still got the first blood. He's still scaling very nicely. They're leaving space for him to even start progressing into his own Blink Dagger.
Radiant are scanning.
Get some defensive wards down here from Bane, yeah.
Yeah, he knows that the aggression is, just going to keep coming. Basically, the only thing they're holding out for is, I don't know, okay, he's finally switched to Radiance instead, and yeah, he'll be able to get away with the Stampede this time, I think.
They're chasing him.
Tower.
The swarm's on him. It's a lot of damage from this Weaver, and another Shikuchi forward's going to net them the kill. Yang dead yet again.
Very clever by X-Nova. He's just using his illusion rune to be able to, get a little bit of vision up there, steal away some of this experience that Chalice is going for.
You're trying to farm your Battle Fury, Anti-Mage. Huh? Well, what if I delay that by a couple of minutes?
Even taking away the Kobold as well.
Oh, rude.
We don't even need a siege creep. We're just able to hit into these towers with our boys, and there we go. The skeletons coming through. Yep, they're rallying up, and they're looking to try and take away even more of this map.
And look at Baboka's positioning here. They'll see that Dark Willow launch a projectile out. Not able to get on top of her, but good idea there from Baboka as they actually smoke up with the 3 of them now. Charge down towards this bottom lane. Yang, so Yang's got Blink, but like, who is Yang playing with right now? Just the Willow?
Willow, yeah, that's it. That's all you can look to play with. Maybe if they do try and counter-initiate. That's the thing, though. The downside of losing all of your Tier 1 towers is that your team can't exactly quickly join in if IG look to respond to whatever you're doing, right? If in any Tier 1 tower was up, then I feel like they would have had that potential.
Go for it, Pichu. Do it. 30 seconds.
While he's doing that, they're making plays elsewhere on the map, just trying to find, with Yang, Planet, and Somnus, making this rotation through its...
Dragonlance, one raindrop charge. Oh, and the Shukuchi. Did he feel that coming? He's going to go right in on top of Chalice. Hello, Anti-Mage. What are you doing here? But he's got just enough mana to Shukuchi away, but they do get on top of him. Monet dead, thanks to Somnus with that Sanity's Eclipse. And meanwhile, Bane.
Yoink.
The Purple Panther sneaking and slinking around.
He's going to TP back and get his own? Or maybe he's just going to leave that for Chalice as well. You never know. Who, by the way, has pretty much got his Battle Fury finished. So not the fastest, but certainly not slow by any means.
It's honestly kind of incredible the way this game has been going and like feeling the pace of it from G2.iG. Incredible that Team Turtle haven't bled out more. Like the way that they lost First Blood, Yang's died a couple of times, Tier 1 towers have all dropped. It's only a 2k lead when it feels like it should be 5.
I think that's kind of by design though, right? Like, IG, sure, they could have taken another fight, they've had to split up for a little bit, but right now X-Nova's basically just walking around like this roaming observer ward, giving a little bit of extra space for the rest of his cores to farm, right? Like, we saw Monet farming in a fairly aggressive spot previously there, but JT, it's still going to be, well, he's pretty much got his Radiance actually, so I feel like it could be very shortly that they're about to start to make things happen. Maybe just wait for Nothing to Say to finish his BKB, because he's almost got his level 12 as well. So I feel like that's the time for everything to start popping off here as X-Nova, again, roaming ward, just protecting the the bounty rune, just giving Nothing to Say every little bit of efficiency that he needs so that they're not missing this big timing that they have.
Yeah, it should be a really nice confluence of timings, right? Deso Weaver, BKB Razor, Radiance Brewmaster, Blink Tiny.
Blink Dagger Tiny.
You got all 4 of them lined up like perfectly. Now, something we've been talking about, the big difference between your top teams and your contenders very often is that synchronization of timings, making sure that you're all on the same page, kind of ready strategy-wise to play together when you need to. And it's all fair and good having, one player have an excellent time and get a very fast BKB, but if they're the ones, rushing in and your other players, your other heroes don't have their first item ready, you're just not going to be winning these fights.
It's just so understated. They're looking to try and find more, right? But
Planet
actually making a movement of their own.
Queuing the Hand of Midas.
Ooh.
All right.
Greed.
That's the way this game's going, huh?
Yeah. They looked to try and find out Monet as well on this top side, but they weren't successful in finding him. He was very conservative, playing around that rune. And there we go. They've got these big timings and a haste rune on the Razor as well.
Ooh. Blink Stomp. Have they got him? With the grip. In comes Baboka. Maybe saving the day. Turning back on the Picho and Chalice as the Stampede will get them a bit of distance now. They've got the turn and run and hide. The move in from that Tiny is Chalice barely surviving with that TP home. And they do spend Stampede and Grip and Bedlam, but G2.iG spending the split and time lapse as well. A bit of back and forth there, and pretty much exactly what we said, right? Everything gets used, one hero dies.
Yeah, and I feel like Team Turtle should be very happy with that exchange, right? To only lose a Bane. Yes, you use a decent amount of stuff yourself, but I guess the fact that they didn't use the BKB on the Razor also leaves you feeling like, okay, well, at least we've still got this. We've still got the potential to be able to make plays. I mean, it's a support Tiny, right? All he needs is mana. And we were talking about the fact that he's got the Null Talisman. He's got the Royal Jelly as well, which is also just going to provide him with a little bit of that constant mana regeneration around the map. So that's really what I'm expecting to see. Just more groups up around Bobica, try and make plays with him. X-Nova, now it's his turn. He made a lot of the space previously, being that roaming ward, letting 3 heroes get into their items without losing anyone other than Monet that one time. If he can get into an Eternal Shroud, once again, it'll swing back the other way, right? X-Nova will once again be that ward. It'll be incredibly hard to kill him. And then where are Team Turtle supposed to farm?
What a world we live in where a position 5 Enchantress is rushing an Eternal Shroud. And Baboka is going to catch the Bane here as Picho stepped up in this northern jungle. Just under 2,000 net worth for the Bane. Half of the Enchantress's net worth really down in the dumps. Feeling quite sad for himself, but that's the life of a Bane here when you have OD Anti-Mage as your 2 cores. Nowhere really to play other than forward behind enemy lines to give that information.
I'm also just wondering as well, like, when are G2.iG going to flick the switch and say, okay, well, actually, we want to try and take away Roshan. They don't have a tier 1 tower top to be able to bring reinforcements. We've still got the positional advantage of it being top side for the next minute and a half. And we've got a Weaver with Swarm and Desolator. Like, that is a lot of damage potential into Roche. especially after they just picked off a hero and Willow was forced to TP back to base. But it seems like they just want to get into their next item first, feeling like, you know what, we've got the strength to be able to take fights now, but it's going to be on our terms, as they're probably going to find Picho once again. Yeah.
Oh, the Terrorize. Finish them up. Oh, they saved the Bane.
The mid-air fear.
Oh, very nice. Keep the Bane alive. Let him get that passive income. Get him to 3k net worth, boys. Now, Dano, when do we have this conversation about AM? Because it's a good anti-mage game, right?
Yeah. It's a really good anti-mage game, just to be able to break away from a lot of this stuff. I do feel like he needs that BKB for himself, though, right? Like, everything that he's building right now is just to enable himself to farm. And, of course, a little bit of that, blink in, pop the Manta, burst damage potential with the Mana Void. Remember, he's still got that Mana Thirst as well that he's looking to play around with. So it's not much, but it's a little bit of synergy together with the Astral Imprisonment, right? The Mana Steal that they're able to do every single time that's being popped on the OD. So I'm interested to see when he feels like he's got the capability of joining. I feel like Manta is just going to put a little bit of extra pressure onto G2.iG to maybe respond to some split push action that he might be looking to make for his own. But in terms of like, okay, I actually want to take a fight, that's going to wait until his next item after that.
The Bane.
I didn't know.
He really is like in my head the Pink Panther slinking around. I've got the music playing in my head. And Chalice doing a similar thing up here, like kind of Benny Hill music for him. It's just, sneaking and running, trying to hide in the trees. They are making G2.iG really sweat and work for this net worth lead. Again, it's like a 5k lead. You're feeling good as G2.iG. You're hitting your item timings, and you said it right. When are they going to flick that switch and go get Roshan, go get tier 2s? And it's kind of hard when you're being wave cut, split pushed. You look at this map, right? And you see Dire tier 1s are all alive. Radiant tier 1s all dead. Surely this map control and flow of the game should be G2.iG all the way. It's just anti-mage things. Like, I think Bane's last couple of deaths in behind enemy lines have also set up nicely for it. But here we go. It's a slow Roshan, but they are going to take it, and this should give G2.iG a good, firm grasp on the game now.
I mean, he was playing what I was talking about with the X-Nova role, right? Like, roaming ward. That's all you need to be. Try and live for as long as possible. Give as much information as you can. Because despite the fact that, there were those 3 towers down, they were, a little bit behind in net worth on every single one of their cores, the net worth lead wasn't increasing for G2.iG, right? It was basically staying the same. And yeah, they finally take the Roshan. It took a while for them to be able to do it, but they get it at the end of the day. And remember, this is with them taking 3 towers. So basically, it feels like that entire net worth lead is all in towers, right? If Team Turtle are able to keep this the same, and well, I mean, now you've even got like a Hurricane Pike for Somnus, so even more potential to be able to play against someone like a Razor or a Weaver in a lot of these engagements. Maybe now you can look to turn it around. I mean, I'm sure they probably don't want to try and fight into this Aegis. It's probably going to be another 4.5 minutes of, again, sorry, Picho, you're going to die again. You need to go out aggressively. You need to make sure that you're making space for the rest of the boys.
The hunt for the anti-mage. Trying to catch him, send Chalice away from his top lane, as he's been a little pest.
To me, the most impressive thing that Chalice is doing is that he's doing this sort of stuff while also farming at the same time, right? Like JT, who might have found him, by the way.
But what's the order of operations here? Avalanche toss. Have they got the damage with the Centaur stomp, the follow through? Oh, just perfectly done there. G2.iG catch the AM finally, grab him by the scruff of the neck and drag him out as down to bottom Picho.
Good, that
he's
damage.
Gonna nightmare up this Weaver, grip him up. Monet looks like he's dead once at least. Then there's no more stuns. They've got to leave. Cannot stick around.
But I mean, they're pushing 2 towers at that same time, right? Mid and top are both being addressed. So, you give up the Aegis, doesn't feel that great, but you lose your core, you're getting the glyph popped, you're having 2 towers potentially pushed into. Even nothing to say holding off from straight up nuking the wave so that tower multi-shot wasn't going to be taking it out.
Yeah, and I guess thinking about the net worth,
like this could still go both ways, couldn't it, Gary?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I mean, thinking about the net worth difference, it kind of feels, or a couple of minutes ago when it was that 3k, it felt like the difference was just the Centaur deficit rather than a G2.iG lead. Yang is still trying to kind of recover and has done in the last couple of minutes to get himself to around 10k. While G2.iG, they're eyeing up this top lane again. And Baboka with nothing to say on that right-hand side. Thinking about their entry, but not wanting to dive tier 2. They'll just farm through the Ancients here, with JT, of course, having this Radiance Aghanim Scepter, the Aghanim Shard queued up next, and he's got the little buddy, a little friend, the pet to roam around, push waves, cause a bit be a bit of a nuisance, you know. We've seen this previously from him.
Yeah, and he's so understanding of what exactly needs to be done in every stage of the game, right? Teamfight about to break out, use the Storm Panda. Or if you just need to scout people out, need to shove lanes, Fire Panda. Need to hit towers, use the Earth Panda. But right now they feel like they've got the capability to fight.
Well, nothing to say, it has to BKB just to try and dodge a bit of that damage coming out of the OD.
Seems like they do feel like they really need that BKB to be able to play around with as well. Otherwise, they could have just rotated up top, maybe force another glyph out of them. You've got to be very careful in this day and age to pop that second glyph right after a tier 2 tower has gone down, because that gives you no high ground threat. And you know that it's not exactly the worst draft that they have to be able to go high ground themselves. You know, we've mentioned the Aghanim Scepter on the Brew, right? You can just use that Earth Panda to be able to do it. What are we chuckling about, Gary?
There's just this freaking Storm Panda, man. Like, AM's hitting a wave and JT cyclones him, so denies a creep, can't do it. Oh, Tormentor, man. A little close there for Planet. It's all good, all good. Bane gets the Aghanim Shard as this little Storm Bruling is scouting and cycloning people mid-farm. It's also like kind of... it slows them down, but it's kind of scary as well. Like, does Summoners here say, hey guys, I'm being gone on? You know, you don't know where the enemies are. Feasibly, if JT cyclones you, there's a, I don't know, 50-50 chance you're being run at.
Yeah, and I wonder, like, you got to make a decision as well on Team Turtle, right? Do you go for a play of your own, like they are right now with this smoke, or do you just put Picho behind Somnus, have him there as, like, that backup, that save, if he does indeed get initiated onto, as... They might actually find Bobica here.
Poor Tiny.
Away in time.
All out in the open. He wasn't expecting all four there. You know, you see the anti-mage, you think he's probably alone. I can stand and fight against him. And backed up by the rest of the crew. Oh, Chalice. 500 away from the Aghanim Scepter now. And the longer this game drags out, it feels the better the chances for Team Turtle are with these two very heavy scaling cores, with the OD and the Anti-Mage being, you know, supreme late-game heroes in this kind of match. And Planet's going to TP away from JT and X-Nova down bottom. Nothing really there to stop it from happening.
It's actually kind of nuts how much burst damage Bobica has now that he's finished up this Phylactery as well, by the way. And he's going into the Kanda. This is a position 4 Tiny, by the way. So, considering he's level 12, he's got the 250 toss bonus damage. He's also got the bonus landing damage from the crash landing, and he's got the 150 damage from the Phylactery whenever he's using it. And then he's going to be hitting with the tree grab and having avalanche and throwing the tree all at the same time. So, you have the potential to burst people for at least like 1200 damage in a lot of these fights. Having a look at the support's health, 1200's about all they got. One thing that is nice though about getting that Aghanim Shard for Picho means that when this Primal Split is being dropped in the fights, you have obviously a lot more targets to be able to get that Brain Sap off onto, so it does give you a little bit of extra safety net for yourself. Maybe you survive an extra couple seconds, can get an Enfeeble out. Honestly, Enfeeble on the Razor wouldn't be the worst, right? Both, if you're able to wait out the BKB timing, then you have much less length on the static link, you've got much less damage that you're able to deal pretty regularly. Feels quite nice.
That could be super handy. I'm just very impressed with Planet scaling here. You know, hand of Midas into the Philosopher's Stone. Might get caught out though with the Storm Panda on his tail.
Chalice.
Chalice going to be safe on that left side. Does blink away. Avalanche toss combo going to kill off Planet as the static link will come out. Stampede, but into the Cyclone of JT. They've got blink here on the AM just to get back into base though, so not a massive deal for Chalice to get away safely. A lot of damage gathered up by nothing to say there though, so maybe a bit of a push on this tier 2 to finish it off.
Good positioning by Planet though, right? He read the fact that, you know what, they're in the lead, they've got this advantage, they've got all their item timings, we haven't yet. And it's around the 28-minute mark where they're going to be trying to steal away a Wisdom Rune. So may as well just look to play behind my Anti-Mage, and that ended up being what saved Chalice there. Didn't even get the other Wisdom Rune in exchange, right?
Oh, Yang. Where are you off to? The little Storm Panda not fast enough to get there.
Just trying to think when it's go time for Team Turtle, right? Like, what are they actually looking to wait for? Because
Minute 40.
minute 40. It feels that way, honestly. Like, do they have even some tier 3 items for themselves? Okay, they've been able to pick up 4 of them.
This feels like a turbo game that's kind of been slowed down. Everyone is buying carry items. Everyone is scaling. Everyone is being given a lot of room, except for the Bane.
Except for the Bane.
Poor Bane down on the bottom.
There's always one that kind of has to be there. You're like, hey.
But, oh, I'll buy a Glimmer Cape, I guess. I'll buy the sentries. Yeah.
Get some D-wards, chop chop.
That's the job. What was that? A minute 30 until Roshan's back up. And could be up right now, though, so team's going to be vying for control around the pit pretty shortly. And it's about to turn daytime as well. So bottom right corner going to be a pretty marked war zone, as we do get a smoke out of Team Turtle, coinciding with this.
D-warded. That bottom lane's really pushed in, though. So I feel like this might be given away. You know, if no one's defending that bottom lane, it's for a reason. It's because they're going for something, and they instantly go for a smoke on G2.iG because of it. Maybe just sticking X-Nova in this lane maybe is a little bit of bait, knowing how hard it is to be able to kill him.
Oh, the BKB straight up. Picho, 3 hits and he's dead. In comes the Tiny, sent skywards, but does toss around the Centaur. The OD, some tremendous damage. Slays Baboka as these impetus shots being launched out. Rainbow damage onto Somnus and Yang, backing themselves away. We've had the Tiny for the Bane trade, the buyback on Bane now, but it looks like JT's just going to cyclone the OD and run away with the rest of his team. Now 30 seconds until Roshan.
Yeah. JT still hadn't altered, though. That's the big thing, right? They've maintained this. They wanted to not give away too much of their team fight before a potential Roshan. Like you said, it's going to be 15 seconds until it's up, so maybe they can use this timing where you don't have BKB on Monet to be able to go into it. Now, you just feel a lot more vulnerable in a lot of these engagements. They're going to be praying that Roshan comes up very shortly, as actually X-Nova may have gone a little bit too far forward.
Yang is in.
He got the natures off.
He's very tanky with a lot of healing. I mean, 1 hit from the OD is quite a bit of damage, but you know, with the untouchable, you can't keep that going. Yang's going to break the swarm off of him. It's nothing to say. Steps up here, and in the back lines, JT has split. Trying to contend with the little Brewling, stopping them and doing quite a bit of damage onto them. The Brewlings are dropping low, but Yang, he's dying inside the pit, trying to TP out. And it looks like he's successfully back in the fountain while they've got the grip on the Brewmaster here. Chalice trying to go to work on him. No mana left. The Mana Void will clear him out. Somnus will die. Traded out for the kill on nothing to say, while Monet is still alive, fighting in with Baboka arriving onto Planet's Dark Willow to take her down. Chalice is now trying to fight basically 1 versus the world. Monet's running back with no mana remaining. Backed up by Baboka and X-Nova, and a 3v3 still here around the Roche pit, available for Team Turtle to maybe make their move again.
Maybe. I mean, Chalice has got the Aghanim Scepter, right? So he can just toss those Blink fragments out on the front line, keep burning Monet's mana. I think that was the big thing, right? He didn't have that BKB. He couldn't truly commit into the team fight along with the rest of the boys, and it just meant that they were able to get a little bit too much damage out on Somnus. He was really dishing it out, doing 4.5k in that fight, the most of anyone, and it just shows how quickly they were able to actually melt down JT's Brewmaster. He isn't quite yet into that level 20 talent. I assume he's going to go the Brewling's health as well. And of course, he's eventually working into that AC for himself as well, just to be able to survive a little bit longer against the Anti-Mage, because he was just getting cleaved down with all those Brewlings. And once again, Picho, the king of support positioning, is just able to get that Fiend's Grip off to enable them to get that kill.
Yeah, and Somnus with that Aghanim Scepter as well, just staying alive that little bit longer, thanks to this this kind of tanky barrier that comes out of the Essence Flux now. Yeah, holding that high ground, using the terrain to their advantage, Team Turtle. Getting up to that Twin Gate spot and just launching Hellfire down on their opponents. Still, you kill the OD, you lose your Razor and your Brew. Bit of back and forth still, but this game being dragged out longer and longer. Teamfights proving to be quite challenging for both sides, like we predicted in the draft, where, you know, look at this. Yeah, win probability dead even pretty much in the middle there. 32 minutes into this game. I just don't know what it comes down to. You know, we're going to get into a situation where AM is still continually split pushing. Roshan is still on the menu. Everyone has now respawned, but G2.iG are the first ones to make the move back into the pit.
Yeah, I mean, clearly feeling like they've got the damage to be able to take it out. The one that I think might be the difference maker in these engagements is Bobaka. Like, he is getting real scary for mine. He's level 15, he's got the Kanda and the Nemesis Curse as well, so having an extra 8% damage coming from that. I mean, it's 75% of his attack damage that Kanda is being buffed up by, and this is a tiny... When he's holding onto the tree, he's got, what, quick mass 370 damage? That's a lot of damage that you're able to deal out in a burst fashion, and he's only just going to continue growing as well. Imagine once he hits into that, level 20, even just level 18 for the extra point in the grow.
He's becoming massive. But so's Planet. The 2 position 4s got 11,000 net worth on a Dark Willow, who is currently being hunted by the Bruling. But equally, JT being eyed up by an anti-mage with a double damage rune, blink fragments, and a couple of illusions sent his way.
Yeah. Making it a little challenging, but someone's going to need to address with this bottom lane pushing in as well. It's going to be Somnus for now, who's working on his own BKB, so actually buys it up all at once. So not going to be a surprise reveal coming through here, but certainly one that might be required when you consider the risks of defending a high ground against a Tiny who can just blink in onto the back lines, get that toss back into the rest of the team. So annoying, isn't it?
Just freaking die.
Mm-hmm.
Did you not get any money from those? Or did he resummon one?
Not sure. Didn't see. He was busy just keeping his eye on the lane, but he's also got his level 20 and he's got his AC now. So I feel like JT is going to be feeling a lot more confident in being able to go out onto the map, as Chalice is actually for a little bit of a hunt. He blinked aggressively himself.
Oh.
They don't have any lockdown for themselves, though.
He's just so tanky. Close to 3,000, well, pretty much 3,000 HP with strength treads. Can swap neutral items around here.
I don't know. I feel like if Tiny was there, Chalice just dies. It's just that they literally have nothing on the Razor, Enchantress, and Weaver to be able to lock him down. Not even a Glipnir. But they're not going to be able to move around that Wisdom Rune at the 35-minute mark. They could be under a little bit of danger of losing this bottom tower, especially as they go for the Tormentor for themselves. Just trying to increase your net worth a little bit. Very nice item for Chalice to be able to pick up, just become even tankier in the middle of these team fights. I was casting a game a couple of weeks ago with, I believe, Faith Beyond, and he got up to 10k HP on Centaur at like 40 minutes.
Yeah, you can get freaking monstrous from that hero. Still trying to defend this tier 3 against the familiar, the summons, the Brulings. All coming in onto this tier 3 to bring it down. The glyph.
Oh, it's a late glyph.
A late one, a mistake there potentially.
Look at all the rally. Plus 6, 18 extra damage for JT's Bruling.
A blink stomp. Yang is in, and Enchantress and Weaver caught up by it. The damage trying to come through from the OD, but not enough. They'll clear out all the summons and the skeletons, but they've lost their lane of barracks now. Astral Imprisonment used up. Monet's going to get out of there with a Shikuchi. Boboka might be left stranded as they do BKB up on the OD and blink in with Yang again. The back lines, Chalice, he's aiming for nothing to say. Monet, the time lapse, back away. BKB'd up now as they cyclone the anti-mage. But Chalice, he's on the chase. Charging in with a bash, catching out the Razor. Monet's going to come out of the Shikuchi in a second. Another cyclone here. Buying time for G2.iG to try and disengage. A bit of a static link out of nothing to say, but the damage is too much from this OD and AM to kill him off. You've got a lane of barracks. You lose your Razor and your Tiny, but you do get Monet's Weaver out of there.
You do, and importantly, it's the real carry of this game, Insomnus. I know it sounds weird to say when you've got an anti-mage that you're playing around, a level 24 anti-mage, by the way, but look at just the damage numbers. They don't lie. Kneeling dealing 7,000 damage on Somnus's OD. Picks himself up both of those kills as well, so he's going to have a Parasma now. Even more damage to be able to potentially lay out. What I want to see from him after that is just go straight into the Scythe of Ice. They need a little bit more control.
22.2k damage out of this OD. Yeah, pretty monstrous stuff from Somnus.
But you just see how easy it is for them to, like, siege high ground, right? You've got the AC, you've got potentially these rally skeletons, you've got the Earth Panda, not just the one from the Aghanims, but from the Primal Split as well. That's all JT was worried about, is just keep that hero hitting into the tower, because it's also got that permanent debuff immunity, right? So you can't actually look to stun it all that effectively.
Yeah, I wouldn't even call it a siege, honestly. It's just a blitz, you know? You just need to run up, you kill the buildings, you're in and out. There's nothing to stop it.
And anyone that does try and respond is going to be targeted by Bobaka as well. Oh man, ooh, they're not going to miss this DD rune, are they?
They walk straight past
look
it.
at the difference.
Baboka's leading out. JT
Love to catch
X-Nova right in
Chalice.
behind them. Chalice. Oh, Yang. Centaur's the one to get caught. Tuster, he's got the Stampede. A bit of distance now as they turn back with Yang and Chalice to try and kill off Baboka. The damage is coming and the Tiny will die as Yang survives, at least for now. X-Nova going to turn here. Able to tank through the AM's damage while Monet clears out the Centaur at long last. Team Turtle, though,
This is gone.
they've got their OD all cycloned up here. Can they save Somnus? Pebbles being thrown at him. He's being dragged back by the Void Spirit, but it looks like G2.iG are the ones who are actually afraid of this. Both teams were scared there to fight.
This is what I was talking about in the draft, right? It's just like you're wanting to bait out all of these spells. Hopefully you can, like, one bad BKB usage can honestly turn around these team fights. Even potentially that double damage rune, right? Could that have influenced things? Could they have been able to blow up Yang before he's able to get too far away with the Stampede, and while they've got their own BKB still running, actually turn in onto this OD, this anti-mage? Even just the fact that they found out the Centaur instead of the anti-mage first is such a big deal.
Oh, a mind breaker for Chalice. That's not too bad. Level 25 anti-mage. He's currently holding his Vampire Fangs, a tier 2 neutral item. What's it? Life Steal and
For the
Vision?
night vision. Yeah.
To see when people are coming.
Minute or so.
So you can blink away or throw a fragment on them.
Very clever.
And now he swaps it out. The Satanic is queued up next. I mean, he is top of the net worth, 27k. Like we were saying, a pretty nice anti-mage game as he is 1-1-7.
Bro, he sent it back and he's instantly bringing it back to himself on the courier. I think he
What, the
realizes that
Vampire
it's still
Fangs?
nighttime. Yeah. But by the time it gets there, maybe only useful for another 10 or so seconds. It's not like he needs the bag space.
Like, he had a pretty good tier... Yeah, he had Elven Tunic as his tier 3 item. Because we noticed that when he was swapping it out. Opting just to keep the Vampire Fangs over them for the majority of the nighttime. Yang now going for his Eternal Shroud. A blink up for the OD. Just layer on layer of itemization here from both teams as we see a Scythe of Vice finished up by the Brewmaster and being delivered to JT. Team fight winning items coming out. Refresher all being worked on by Nothing to Say. Monet.
And it's gone for Octarine as well. I think he had a Scythe of Vice queued up for quite a long time, but I don't mind the Octarine either. You know, just to much more frequently cause a lot of issues with these Bramble Mazes in team fights. Have Bedlam up every, well, it won't be 30 seconds, it'll be like, what, 25, 22, something like that? But I just do feel like both teams probably lack just a little bit of that control. If you can just get that tiny bit extra, it could be the difference maker, especially now that these BKBs are starting to wear a little bit low.
God, we're going back.
Somnus is still at 8 seconds. It's pretty huge, Gary.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he can cause a lot of problems. They're smoked up here.
They're going in.
Playing right into Chalice, who starts things off on X-Nova. A blink stomp from Yang will set up a kill on the Enchantress, who's now dead for 60 seconds. And Chalice playing this entire game basically like alone.
But he had the boys straight after him to be able to back up, even using Stampede, I feel like, for the first time offensively this entire game as well. So, to me, the meter has swung a little bit more in Team Turtle's favor now.
It's minute 40, Daniel. What did I tell you?
True.
It's their time to play.
Be a little careful here, but too many boys have backed off. Chalice has gone back to be able to deal with this 40-minute creep wave with the double siege. Needs to make sure that he's clearing it up very quickly, though, if he does want to join the rest of his team down on the bottom side of the map, because Roshan's coming up in a minute 20. It will spawn on the bottom side, and both teams know it. So this is where things like JT, with his Earth Panda, he would rather it be the Fire Panda just to be able to push it out, but if no one addresses this, he will siege the high ground. And that's the issue that they have, right? You probably don't want to pop a glyph for it, but you're going to be forced to.
Just no commitment. A little Earth Panda getting out there and getting the job done. Go on, my son.
Nova just wants to... He wants to convert any creep and just send it into the Roche pit. They just need a little bit of information.
Here we go. Smoke breaks. Blink Storm. 2-3. Call out. Enchantress about to die. Baboka's tiny, nearly dead as well. Somnus pops BKB through the grip on the Razor. That's the big one. Left-hand side of the fight. They're going to blow up. Nothing to say. A double kill for Somnus, turning on these Brewlings. Monet has to run. Baboka's bailing out of there. And JT, is that the last one left? He'll pop out of it now, but dead nonetheless. A triple kill for Somnus. Massive for Team Turtle. They got Baboka. What's he doing? He's trying to
Not
pretend
sure.
to be the ice cap on top of Mount Everest, but he's been melted and thawed by Somnus with the ultra kill.
Ultra kill indeed, and once again, tips being given to the man himself, the one that is making all of this happen. Brings himself up to level 25 as well, so you were worried about his damage previously. Now he's even got more of that mana pool to damage from the Arcane Orb. And also, JT, he brought his Bruling back, so it's not like they were able to even make something happen around that top lane of Rax. They weren't able to push into it all that aggressively. Really nice initiation again onto the Enchantress, right? It's all just about finding that quick burst onto her before you're able to get too many stacks of that Eternal Shroud building up.
Yang having 39 minutes of pain and suffering, and now, 42 minutes into the game, makes that massive jump with a 3-man stomp. Beautifully done. Chalice now straight back into split pushing. Map control, the name of the game now, as they've got Aegis in the hands of the OD with a refresher shard.
The needle has swung, Gary. Look at that win probability. It has been sitting, 50-50, slightly favored towards G2.iG for the majority of the game, but it's up to like 74, 75%. Crazy. What you can do if you just don't get punished effectively enough. They did a really good job, once again, to clear out all the tier 1 towers really early on. They got into those key items for themselves, but it just felt like there wasn't that solid progression after that. I feel like they had the recipe for it, but it just didn't all come together.
Oh, it's this age-old anti-mage problem, right? You've killed him once, yeah, but you didn't really stop him from farming, weren't able to stop him effectively when he was split pushing. Tiny, your only real catch and kill hero there. A severe lack of disable coming out of G2.iG has made this the perfect anti-mage game. We saw it coming at the end of the draft. We knew what was going to happen with these scrappy back and forth fights, and the clock that G2.iG are, kind of on here. Once we have another, 10 minutes of this game, it feels like a foregone conclusion, basically, with this OD and anti-mage. Swinging points, potentially, these kind of sides of Vice coming up for G2.iG, that additional layer of lockdown so you can actually unload Monet's damage. Monet's had a good game, I want to say. 7-1-2, he's itemized nicely, he's up there in terms of net worth, but in team fights, he hasn't felt like a hero that's, nothing to say as well. Both of these ranged cores have really struggled to stick on the AM, to find the OD, because they've got Blink, they've got Hurricane Pike, they've got Stampede.
Yes, and when's the last time they actually found an initiation onto anyone but Yang, I think, is the other thing that's also a factor, right? He is by far the tankiest person on that team. Even just holding onto a rattle cage, right? Not even just for the armor, but for a little bit of slow that you're able to dish out. You set up the team fight a little easier for the rest of the team, and then just auras on auras on auras on tankiness, even with the double-edged shard as well, right? To be able to give himself that little bit of an extra barrier. Somnus, he went and bought himself an Arcane Blink. He's just trying to stack intelligence at this point. The little bit of extra mana and health that you get every time you blink and the lower cooldown, it's nice, but he just knows that he's chunking down a lot of these heroes. That's
Incredible
role in
damage.
this game. It does feel like G2.iG, as you would be, are a little bit rattled, right? Like Bobika, he's got an Assault Cuirass queued up for himself. JT's already got one. There's no need for you to be able to go into this next. They just need another way to be able to, find more reliable initiation. Maybe it's an Aghanim Scepter for the Tiny, right? Maybe you need to play around trees a little bit more.
Monet, he's dead. No, he's not. Time-lapse BKB will get him out. I thought the Centaur was coming faster, but Monet has managed. Oh, hang on. The hits out of the shard. Oh, no. They've griefed him. The shard has griefed the Weaver. Gives away his position. Still going to try and get away from this, but Chalice and Yang are on his tail. Sansed up, stunned and killed, and Monet's dead. 100 seconds, but with buyback available, all under that Planet Observer ward.
I'm just having a look at the vision that G2.iG have to play around with right now. Map is dark, and dark is an understatement. They've just been able to take control of this entire side. There's nowhere that he can go, and perhaps just going a little bit too far forward underneath a pretty obvious cliff.
I'm sorry, Weave Aghanim Shard. I didn't mean to flame you. It was the Observer Ward. As they do blink in with a tiny toss back onto Somnus. The OD caught. He's tanky with that barrier up, and he does have the Aegis, of course, with a second life here. Nothing to say, though. Almost just dying to the anti-mage as he tries to stand his ground, and now Somnus blinks away. High ground push halted, at least for now, but a new wave is arriving with the Roshan's banner. They're all glyphed up and making their way towards the barracks. As G2.iG, 5 alive, buybacks ready on Tiny and Enchantress. It feels like they've got to make a move here. They're glyphing up and buying a little bit of time for themselves. Where is Baboka? He's in that top tree line, trying to find his angle, but Yang's the one to make the first move onto X-Nova.
The BKB.
Blowing up the Enchantress. She's dead. With buyback, can return to the fight. Baboka still smoked up and looking for his angle of entry here, but Chalice is so strong. Stands there, punches a couple of times, then blinks away. Loses his courier in the foray, but an anti-mage cyclone. But then what? He's got 3,000 HP. His magic resistance is like, I don't know, 70% or something through the roof. This tanky hero is just so difficult to contend with.
I was thinking maybe they could, you know, once again blink Avatos back into the base, into probably a Brewmaster stun. He still had the Primal Split going at that time. He's got a Scythe of Vice as well on JT, so I feel like they've got the potential to be able to lock down Chalice if they find him, but they just didn't want to take that risk. They know that they're one bad team fight from just losing it all. Even 3 bounty runes for them to be able to claim. They haven't been playing on their side of the map. That's always an indication of like the status of the game, right? Like, where are the bounty runes? You know, if the aggressive team just has about 50 on their side of the map, it just means that the lane has been pushed so aggressively constantly that you're always able to control the equilibrium, are able to control a lot of this map control as well, as they finally look to put down a few of these observer wards at least, so they can now leave their base on G2.iG. It's that Roshan that they're going to be fighting for, but again, I just feel like they've delayed a few of these big timings for themselves. You know, not getting into Scythe of Ice a little bit earlier. Brewmaster only now just about to finish up a BKB for himself. Feels like it perhaps could have come a little bit while ago.
I wonder if Monet's smiling now. Because he had a good old chuckle when that Anti-Mage was picked, you know? We could kind of feel the vibe of, oh, they picked Anti-Mage, we're going to outpace them. This AM's not going to do much. And Chalice, 2-1-11. Not many kills, but his impact has been tremendous. Well, he's 6 slotted now. Like, what does he do next? Buy a shard? He's going to swap MKB in for his Moon Shard, I guess?
I guess so. And they're just not protecting themselves from getting gone on here. TP forced back from JT. He wanted to be just still pushing in on that top lane, just to try and force any sort of defensive movement to be able to come out, and very nicely done. Just that power of the Enfeeble, it's got such a long cast range, especially when you've got the Aether Lens to play around with. He pops the Lincolns on Nothing to Say, so they can't even consider joining these team fights.
It's a classic spot for Radiant to play from as well. Pivot from mid to bot, push 2 lanes at the same time, and of course, ideal that they have already taken top lane barracks. Yes, the Dire Wave is near the Radiant base, but that's naturally going to push all the way back out again. And you're defending the lane of barracks that G2.iG have already taken. It's just the perfect spot here for Team Turtle to play from, smoke from. And yeah, there's the lot. I was just going to say, the opportunity here for the kind of wraparound into the enemy base. They've drawn the arrow to go in through that top lane and try and get in behind G2.iG. Because if you can catch some of these heroes like the Weaver who bought back, that's game over. If Monet dies before he can get his BKB off, Throne just dies. And they might just have it here. If they can find him, they can see him. The smoke breaks. Oh, Monet, the blink stomp. Yang is in. The Sanity Eclipse drops the damage. It comes in. Monet's dead for 2 minutes time now. The race is going to fall on Team Turtle. I think they've just about bloody done it. G2.iG getting slapped around in their own base. Maboka's going to fall here on a double kill for Chalice into GG. 51 minutes. It took them a while, but Team Turtle with a greedy scaling draft absolutely handled G2.iG in the long run.
Window for error, basically, right? Like, if you screw up a couple of these ganks and you fall behind, you don't have that same farming potential as a Razor, as a Leshrac, even a DK, right? If he's looking to start to take away a bunch of your towers, you're going to have very little parts of the map to be able to farm around.
At least Death War doesn't have True Strike anymore, so the win rate is going to be all right with that.
Small miracles.
Yeah, little victories. Looks like we're going to have a delayed smoke from both teams, though, this time. Neither of them smoking out of their base. Enchantress holding one over on G2.iG side, and Picho holding the other one over on the other. Holding on that Dire Ancient's high ground area, coming down out of the map as Clockworks. What is that? Eternal Machine Head, Immortal Clockwork items? Yeah, he's gorgeous, isn't he? But they're going to crash into each other as these smokes meet. Chalice on the far right-hand side, breaking it there, but not getting scouted. Ping's coming out, and they're going to avoid each other, it looks like.
I mean, imagine if they placed a ward up on the high ground. He was dead. He was far away from the rest of the team. Obviously, very tanky hero, but at this stage of the game, 5-on-1, It's always going to result in the kill to the 5. Really feels like there's just... Oh, dodge
Hey.
one.
And another.
Yeah.
Gets the bounty rune, though.
There's no question as to which is the best spell now, in my opinion, to start off with a Clockwork. Battery Assault used to be the one. You had to build a little bit more for the movement speed. You still do, kind of, just because having the Windlace means that you can get into position to be able to punch the cogs forward and get that mana burn probably twice onto these targets that you want, whereas without the Windlace, you're just a little bit slow. Sometimes the cog doesn't reach its desired position quite as easily. But yeah, I just want to see him spamming this out. Particularly onto the Witch Doctor, right? Like, you need to try and drain him away before he can get this Voodoo Festeration going against you.
God, I can't help but think of Jenkins whenever you say that. The festering Voodoo Festeration. Fester was one of his favorite words for a long time. Well, yeah, definitely eyes on that mid lane as we do see Nothing to Say Tinker, the specialty hero brought out for the signature player. And he's undergone a few changes like you were talking about in the draft there, as we do have that return of the March of the Machines. Everyone's favorite, bringing us back to the old days when we used to have universal damage, ancient farming with a tinker, as we do lose JT to that Witch Doctor. Man, that's a lot of damage out of Maledict and just the hits from him and Chalice.
I mean, if you're afraid to move on forward, that means that... I mean, Maledict was always kind of the answer to a lot of these beefy heroes, right? Anything that's just based off of a percentage of the damage that you've done is going to be really good against these heroes that have a lot of HP as well. And because he wasn't being pressured all that much, Chalice had the freedom to be able to go the Dragon Tail at level 1. Probably just going to look to try and get a little bit of action going onto Bobica as well. This is without even a Blood Grenade, and I would have to imagine after a little bit more regen from Picho, he's just going to go into more stuff that's just going to be enabling them to pick up a lot of this net worth for themselves and get some consistent kills in lane.
A bit of pinball down the bottom way and Chalice gets bounced around in the cogs. Always funny to watch. But yeah, also, you're talking about different strategies and different styles from players and teams, and definitely a much different game here emerging, of course, as Team Turtle... laning stage probably going to go much better for them across the board compared to game 1, which was a delay tactics game to get the anti-mage and OD off the ground. This one definitely more fast-paced for them, as already G2.iG having to do some wave cutting and dragging shenanigans there with the Clockwork just to try and remedy things in that bottom lane, which Picho and Chalice are really doing a lot of damage to them.
That's what they tried to do last time, and Chalice doesn't want to let them do that. You want to make sure that JT is always in a position where he's going to be punished. Him or Bobica, either one should be fine. But it just means that DK, just with his inherent tankiness, can tank up the creep wave. He's got more armor. He's got more... hold on, I was just wondering if Bobica was going to be okay. Yes, he will. But he's got more regen as well, so he means that this creep wave is going to be able to connect together again. And the creep wave is just going to be in such a dangerous spot for G2.iG to be able to play the lane. Once again, dodging out more of these cogs.
That one looked like it scraped past his backside, but we'll let it fly. And Bobica and JT just trying to mess things around as much as they can with Team Turtle down there. As up at top, we've had an Ogre Frost Mage giving armor over to X-Nova and Monet, trying to protect against the double-ranged, of course, in this top lane, equally from Team Turtle. It feels like it's very rare we see double-ranged against double-ranged.
I mean, if that's the case, then both are going to be fairly happy about that situation moving forward. I'm just thinking, like, are they ever going to be in a position to go for a kill on G2.iG, right? Because... And when can you actually leave the lane as well to be able to help out these mid lanes? That's another thing that we've seen pretty consistently across this series in particular. Nothing to say he had a little bit more priority in game 1 versus what he normally does. Normally they just leave him to do his thing, just say, you know what, you've got it. But anytime that he's got these heroes that need to play around the bottle, I'm going to be expecting some rotations coming through from probably X-Nova in particular, just because I don't think JT is going to be able to farm at all if Bobica leaves him on the Clockwork on this bottom lane.
No, there's no way. Yeah, if JT steps up alone, he's dead.
I wonder what Nothing to Say is annoyed about, just with that whole chat. Oh, I guess
bit of lag,
JT
probably.
is DC'd as well. That also is a factor.
What's the item build on this Tinker now with the changes? We're still going for...
You're asking me, bro. I think it's a couple
have a
Bell
look.
tallies into the Blink Dagger, into the Aghanim Scepter is what he did last time that he played it. It was like an 8-minute Blink Dagger and a 14-minute Ags, and then you're able to just... I think you still need to play around your level 12 as much as possible, because that's when the rearm really doesn't take an eternity to be able to channel on through, and you can obviously get that laser going a whole lot more frequently in a lot of these fights.
And then what, Kaya, BKB, Lincolns, so I guess defensive items depending on the mood and the vibe of the game.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, Kaya can be pretty handy
He does
as
need
well.
to build pretty heavily into just intelligence purely. It's kind of like what we saw coming through from Somnus with his OD last game, right? The Arcane Orb, it's going to be based on all of that. And for the Tinker, his Eureka innate ability is the only thing that provides that item cooldown reduction these days. Of course, the Rearm not doing as much of that, so you're not just going to be able to blink around, you know, laser, rocket doesn't exist anymore, so
Yeah.
it's all that sort of stuff just combining together.
Time for Meteor Hammer Tinker. Let's give him give him all the intelligence and mana regen that he can possibly desire. Well, down at bottom, Baboka cogsing up Picho here as the bounty rune was kind of ready to be taken there, but he doesn't want to go risking his life for it. Just trying to walk away and waddle out of that bottom lane spot. And 4 minutes about to hit as well, so he can maybe guard a water rune, but yeah, this Witch Doctor is just gunning for this clockwork, chasing him all the way across the map.
Mm-hmm. Doesn't have the most mana to be able to make these sorts of plays, though. Overcoat making that even more challenging. Nicely done by him. Does mean that no one's there to be able to assist. Nothing to say on the top side, though. So Somnus is going to be the one getting the water in pickup for himself.
Yeah, I mean, overall victory there for the mid lane of Team Turtle, right? Mm-hmm. Well done by the Witch Doctor, just causing that bit of a problem. And immediately Picho is back down at bottom, looking to try and drag this wave back, as it has pushed quite heavily into that dire tier 1.
Yeah, this isn't what you want, right? You don't want JT to be able to get a lot of these levels solo. Yeah, he's one of those heroes that, again, you're playing up against... Oh, hold on. Next to the tower.
Oh, the Maledict.
The tower's actually doing the work.
Chalice. He's tanky with 7 stick charges, though. A lot of damage went onto Baboka. He pops his stick on Chalice to survive. Not enough to kill through the Maledict here onto JT or Baboka, but it looks like the staying power of Team Turtle will keep them in the lane with the regen they've got. Tango's handed over. Level 2 Dragon Blood. Everything's fine and dandy for them up there. Or down there. While up here, in the top lane, X-Nova looking a little worse for wear, trying to stack the camps. Monet currently sat 25 and 12, though, so getting a good leg up over on the Razor in his lane.
It's to be expected, right? There really isn't too much of that gank potential going up against the Wind Ranger early on. I still feel like, again, it's just a little bit of a narrow hero, if that makes sense. Like, if you're choosing to take a tower with Focus Fire, it means that you can't have it for the team fight. Whereas I feel like something like Eye of the Storm even, it doesn't deal damage to towers early on, but at least you're able to take a team fight, shove the wave at the exact same time, and mean that people can't really walk into you when you use, for example, some stolen static link damage as JT's dead.
Yeah, just has the kitchen sink thrown at him there. Everything under the sun to kill that Centaur off. Dead for 20 seconds, so a free lane here for Team Turtle to play in. Yeah, I guess on the Wind Ranger point, she feels like a committal hero with non-committal skill set. Focus Fire is very hard committal, and everything else is guerrilla tactics, poke and prod. So you kind of have to toe that line between committing with your ulti and then playing that back and forth with the rest of your skill set. And of course, being quite a dainty hero as well.
Might be trying to make a play onto Yang here. They'll probably only catch Planet. Although very nice spellcasting, making sure to play around that calling to try and prevent himself from getting caught inside the cogs. He basically stands inside of the calling rather than trying to run away, knowing that there was no way for him to be able to get away from that. And once again, Somnus enabled. You go for a kill, sure you get it onto a support, but what's more valuable? Somnus having an Arcane Rune on his level 6 Leshrac, or getting a kill onto a support?
Well, here we go. The battle of the lane pushing. Pulse Nova versus March of the Machines. Fight! Down at bottom lane, Dragonite and Witch Doctor right on the tail of the Centaur yet again. Stomp there trying to hold them back, but it looks like the damage is already done. Ooh, hang on. Maledict wears off. Tinker has come in. JT from the high ground turns back to kill off Picho.
Too. Oh,
Very
no.
nicely done. Oh, the neutral
got
creep.
him.
Oh, no.
Well, JT.
Oh,
I was
Yang.
going to say, back
The cogs. He's going to get the kill on the Enchantress here for sure. Plasma Field, no mana and no cooldown. While 7 minutes hits, JT grabs the Wisdom Rune as Somnus tried to contest it, but he's still going to get the kill on his Centaur, who is having some serious struggles in that bottom lane.
I mean, that's basically as good as the Wisdom Rune, right? To be able to get the kill, you basically get as much solo XP from that as getting the Wisdom Rune would have done. And then, of course, just to be able to go back, get a nice bottle refill from the rest of the team with the Arcane Rune. This is what I'm talking about, you know, the power of just being able to rotate across the map with a hero like the Leshrac. And, you know, Team Turtle don't have the same issues as IG does, right? They really have no tower taking potential outside of X-Nova on this Enchantress, and they don't necessarily have great team fight either without the Stampede. So the fact that they've put this much pressure onto JT means that everything's just going to be delayed so much, and even more so.
This is huge. They saw nothing to say. He's dead to a neutral, though. The Granite Golem comes to punch him down. Picho is going to try and turn around on JT, who stomps and double edges the Leshrac, but now stunned up, caught by the Maledict. Don't land the Split Earth, though, so no follow through there as Chalice was a little late to the party. In comes Baboka with X-Nova and Monet rotating. Trying to catch up to Somnus here. The Leshrac getting slowed down. Damage is coming. Cogs will trap him. Somnus absolutely dead, trapped in the cage. IG bringing the numbers down bottom to defend their Tinker, who died to an Ancient Creep.
I was begging for the Dark Troll Summoner there to turn around and hit him, get the third neutral kill in a row. At the moment, neutrals are level with G2.iG in terms of their kill score right now, but I mean, everything that's happening is just without Yang, without Planet. You know, they were just able to get a little bit more of this farm for themselves, a little bit more solo experience, shove the lane into the tower. It's just, again, such a heavy committal just to be able to get one kill in return. So I'm a little worried for G2.iG, if I'm being perfectly honest, just for what they're going to be able to do in the early parts of this game. It really just is all around nothing to say, isn't it? He's so close to that blink.
Radiant Ward sees them all. And they'll get the stun. Immediately start things off on Baboka. They've seen this coming, but Chalice is still getting dived under tier 1 tower. The Centaur stomp from the neutral and the hero, but Chalice is still alive. Now finally dies. In comes Yang, though, with a Razor, trying to turn back onto Monet, but the Wind Ranger slipped away with the Wind Run. And they lose the Clockwork, but they kill the DK. Even undivisioned there. G2.iG making it work.
This hero, man, it's way too good. I think he took, like, trying to add them together, like 2100 damage, and he has less than 1400 health. So, like, that's the amount that you're able to regen, and of course he would have had a magic wand, and he's got, you know, the bracer to be able to provide him everything else on top of that. It just takes so much time to be able to kill just this one hero.
This much of the machines getting very annoying as Planet is just going to straight up die to it. The Tinker comes in, spams some spells, and Muerta dies.
Didn't get the 10-minute power rune. Somnus did, and it's a haste rune on a Leshrac. They will see him, at least coming through with this Observer Ward on the top side of the map. Means that JT, he's running scared, again, for his life. He's just trying to get the hell away from any sort of aggression. And he's going to walk into Yang, actually. Oh,
They're fighting over the Twin Gate. Yang. There's no getting out of this one now. With the Wind Ranger arriving. Focus fire. Maybe Roshan and Denial inside the pit. Oh, he's going to get it as well. Three
Neutrals
so
are up
far.
to 3.
3 so far on the neutral count. I don't know what neutral was the first one, because we had a Granite Golem and a Roshan as the second and third.
Whatever was in the hard camp at the time. I think it was a regular troll.
Okay, a little troll trapper or whatever it is. Tower push now going to come into effect from G2.iG. And just trying to trade out as they've already lost their top tier 1 there. Of course, to the Leshrac with a haste rune who just sped up to top and take down the objective.
Man, you take your eyes off Nothing to Say for 1 second, and he has just exploded on net worth to the top of this charts, right? Like, he is farming out lanes. Again, he's trying to hit that level 12 timing and the Aghanim's. That's really what he's looking to go for. So if they can try and retain as many of their tier 1 towers as they can while he does this, then, well, they're all gone now, so obviously that's not going to be the case, but you just need map control to be able to more easily, not just for him to join in, because you could just use Keen Convergence once it's level 2, but for the rest of the team to be able to join in onto him, because Nothing to Say, he's the one, I think, that's going to be communicating constantly this game. He is the one that is going to be your playmaker, your late game carry, your everything for G2.iG. Hopefully for his sake, he's going to be able to get his first power rune of the entire game.
I mean, he's the Avengers. He's Batman. You send up that flare, that light into the sky, right? And you're like, are you coming? Are you ready, Tinker? You're gonna come and save me? And he'll answer when the call is made. It's down at bottom. They make another play onto Yang. Monet, being drained of all of his damage, though, has to back away. And with Pucho arriving, not something they can keep on fighting for. As we see the level there on the Witch Doctor is still level 5, 12 minutes in. Clockwork has basically just cracked level 6 alongside the Enchantress. These supports are struggling to get their levels in this game.
At least they have those ultimates, right, to be able to play around outside of Pichu. You know, obviously it's going to be very important for him to be able to get into that. He wants to make sure that he's in position to be able to join into, honestly, pretty good lockdown, right? Like, you've got Deadshot, you've got Yule Scepter from Somnus, who's going to catch out poor JT once again for his 4th death of the game. And the amp damage certainly just makes it even easier. Feels like this Blade Mail is like, I guess they do have a reasonable amount of, like, unavoidable damage coming through from Team Turtle, but it feels a little bit more like a farming item to me, you know, just enabling him to be the one that takes a few more of these Ancients. I feel like when Nothing to Say is, like, ready to go in about 800 gold, it's going to be to make space for JT to be able to get into any sort of farm for himself, because he's still a good 2,100 gold away from his Blink Dagger.
Yeah, he needs a ton of time. I guess, at least he got that Blade Mail just before dying. Yeah, give him the Ancients, let him farm away, get to that Blink as quickly as you can, because you need that second layer, along with the Clockwork Hookshot, to have that Stampede Blinks done, to be able to catch out heroes like this Lesh and Razor before they get their payload out. Yeah, this is where the map starts to get interesting, right? You've been saying with this Tinker, lanes get pushed out quite easily. He's able to split push and just be that old, irritating Tinker that we all used to know and love back in the day. He's farming multiple camps at the same time and just outstripping everyone in terms of acceleration in that farm department.
Love? I don't know about love. I know there are a lot of people that were pretty big exponents of this hero, honestly, even being removed from the entire game, let alone nerfed, so...
I don't know what your problem is, honestly. A hook shot up top.
Hook shot.
Dragonite caught out by Baboka. Monet's here with that freshly purchased Maelstrom. And Nothing to Say, yeah, the back signal was put into the sky, so the Tinker, of course, will oblige. Oh, the dead shot. Tries to catch up to Baboka there, but Clockwork with a Vitality Booster. Raindrops, Wand, pretty freaking tanky. Looks like he's going for that Vanguard and I guess Crimson Guard build again.
All right, so I'm having a quick look at some of this itemization. Oh, by the way, when is Witch Doctor going to use Grigri? That's always the question on our minds.
Oh my god.
Still got it available. 325 gold saved up there.
It's either like minute 37 or never. You know? Like, end of the game, he's still got Grigri in his inventory.
Maybe just for a big power spike around the time that they want to, go for that Roshan, go for that high ground push. It honestly might not be all the way until 37 minutes. Maybe like 30, 31, when he looks to try and get into an item that's going to give him like a bit of a catapult in net worth there. So the thing that I was...
Yeah, go on.
Sorry, go ahead.
Nah.
So I was looking at the itemization coming through from Team Turtle, right? And I don't see any 4-stars. And I think that's actually going to be really important whenever you're going up against a Centaur to try and run away. But the Clockwork is the one, right? Like, you want to try and get out of those cogs as quickly as possible. And with Nothing to Say, with this laser, 100% miss rate on that laser. So if you're catching multiple people inside the cogs, there is nowhere for them to run while everything else is going on. So I think, like, I saw that briefly with that attempt that they were making onto Chalice, just because he joined in and got the blind onto the DK. He wasn't actually able to hit himself out of the cogs. You actually need a way to force yourself out of there, or just pop the BKB.
Yeah, there's 4 staffs, and there's also this kind of BKB waiting room, right? Looking at all 3 cores of Team Turtle, trying to get into their BKBs as quickly as they possibly can. I guess DK, Blink Dagger first, probably, so that might be a bit delayed. And Razor definitely going to rush into it.
You're not going to have that luxury, right? So before you get to that point, it's almost like, okay, well, we need to get Ogre Seal Totem.
Baboka's in.
Go.
Yeah,
you can't get out.
Stuck in the cogs, does turn and kill Baboka, at least trading for his life. And now with the march, look at this, March of the Machines placed, the calling is down, this control of areas of the map, which is very difficult to bypass.
And they've left, so it means that JT just stuck around a little bit too long.
And comes in with Chalice, blows him up. X-Nova is now lurking in the shadows away. And Nothing to Say, TP'd out and just leaves G2.iG stranded out here. As I think But they pinged him out. Picho has caught a glimpse of this Enchantress. They've scanned.
Is under attack.
It looks like he's in the scan. He's not turning red, though.
Spidey senses are tingling, though.
Radiant are
You
scanning.
plan it? Doesn't seem like it. Alright, so despite everything that's
Did
happening...
he just dodge both of the scans?
Oh, yeah.
Is that another Radiant scan? It's 2 Radiant scans, and he's in between both of them. Does Enchantress have an innate ability that says scans do not turn red when placed on it? No. No. X-Nova, just too good.
I think Enchantress needs more buffs, to be honest. I think it's a pretty good hero right now, but yeah, I mean, that's another thing that I feel like X-Nova's done a fairly good job at as well. He was the one that enabled them to take their only tower thus far on the map, right? Playing around that 10-minute mark, getting the bottom tower. Even if it did mean JT died on the top side, they just needed something to be able to open up the map a little bit. As, good God, Yang has a lot of stacks to be able to farm for himself. Get him into that nice little BKB timing, and I'm sure it's going to be around that 20-minute mark where Team Turtle just say, all right, we got our items, we're going to be pretty close to Bloodstone at that point, let's take Roshan, and let's start threatening going high ground.
It's just putting the onus onto G2.iG here in terms of initiation. But it kind of feels like Team Turtle want to be the ones to get gone on.
Hold on. Hold on.
And Picho, he will get gone on. All 3 of them there. Blow him up.
They'll be able to follow up. They
Join in
got
as well.
Rocket. Ooh, hook shot. Hook shot.
They didn't see him, right?
Random one. Rocket Flare was just off the mark. Probably, honestly, not wanting to do it as well, at least until Tinker's level 18, just so that you're able to keen conveyance onto the actual heroes as opposed to any sorts of creeps. I don't think they had any like little kobolds out that he could TP onto as well. Even just the little bit of less time to be able to rearm is such a key factor as they find Chalice.
Yeah, Blink Stomp to start things off. And the hook shot to follow through. He's trying to farm
run.
BKB up here, but there is no escaping, as even Monet's going to show his face up here. And this would be that prime situation to, go and sneak a Roshan, go and grab it, but with 2 heroes elsewhere on the map, kind of difficult for G2.iG to get in there, and, Tinker and Windrange are not the best Rosh-taking heroes right now. Not just yet, anyway. As it looks like Team Turtle actually rallying around Somnus in this top left corner. They lose their DK, but they're still itching for a fight. He's not got Bloodstone yet.
They have no Stampede, they have no hook shot, so let's try and find someone trying to pick up a lot of this farm. Nothing to say. He's just dodging out a lot of this aggression coming through, playing around the Ancients as much as possible.
The Dire Watcher there. We're going to see them. And JT. Unable to get out of there.
He's going to reach that level 18 timing, Gary, and he's looking pretty scary. He'll probably have the BKB finished up at that time as well, so how are you actually going to be able to lock down? Nothing to say on his Tinker. The Arcane Rune, it's just Somnus. An absolute treat of items to play around.
Trying to protect this Enchantress. They come in with Yang into the backline onto X-Nova as they've blown up a Boca. Blink Stomp on 3 inside the cog still. Yang, though, is dispatched with Monet. This Razor goes to work. Nothing to say. He has arrived, though. And he blinks in aggressively. Trying to protect JT. The Centaur defense matrix placed on him. Another TP forward. Nothing to say. He was thinking about that Blink re-initiation. But they can't get that follow-through done. In the end, what is it? A 2-for-1?
2 for 1, and I mean, the fact that, honestly, I saw Monet die, it was to Yang solo, and that is never really what you want to see, right? Like, a Wind Ranger who has plenty of ways to be able to escape. The lockdown wasn't necessarily that great. They were just able to chase him down fairly consistently, even through the win run.
And that BKB difference. Just BKB and run at your enemies. We nearly got that Bloodstone on Somnus as well. That is a big difference maker as we enter these fights. And JT looking at Eternal Shroud, as I believe we just saw the Enchantress finish off hers. So we're getting some very tanky heroes here on G2.iG, and potentially matching up against the tankiness of... Oh my god! Oh!
I mean, does that say, hey, we can go Roche now? Does that say we can, push the lanes out? Look at the lines being drawn on the map. They're basically saying they don't have supports to be able to play around with, so let's take away some of the map. We've had this entire game where we haven't been able to do this sort of thing, but now, finally, maybe we're going to be able to convert onto someone.
We're up to 5.
We are up to 5. The neutrals. Neutrals are winning TI game.
Oh my god, look at them. Oh Yeah,
Probably would have died as well on Somnus if not for the
Yeah.
fuels.
I saw the 3 messages on the left-hand side, and I thought Somnus had died. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
I thought they had all died to the Tormy. Goodness gracious me. Well, no harm, no foul, I guess. Nothing major done on the map by G2.iG. They get a little bit of extra breathing room, a bit of farm time, so accelerating to their next items like the BKB on the Wind Ranger. And maybe a bit of map space here to jump in onto Planet. Hook shot with a TP from Nothing to Say. Should be able to claim them the kill on that position 4.
Just looking at Planet's item build as well. He's got an Atos into a Shadow Blade next, so it feels to me like he just wants to find this Tinker somehow in a lot of these fights. I'm not sure if you're going to have that sort of luxury when he doesn't have the defense matrix built in onto himself. Really feels to me like the silence is the way to go. If you get really lucky, you can put the calling down. You might get the strong dispel, but you end up blinking forward through your translocator facet into another one of the silences, and then you can actually find the lockdown that you need. So he hasn't even needed to use the BKB yet, Gary.
Let me just keep it nice and fresh. 9-second duration. Roshan now in that bottom right-hand corner. G2.iG in perfect position here to get some ward coverage down, protect that area, maybe even just slip into the pit.
I have a legitimate question. Have we seen a single Death Ward this game?
No.
Or a Pierce the Veil? I don't think we have.
I don't think so. No, I don't think so.
And that's really where it's all kind of come apart. It's the story of two very different drafts for Total Short between game 1 and 2. I feel like this is a fairly easy draft to execute, right? Like, you've got two heroes that can push into towers, you've got a Razor who's hit a lot of his timings, and you haven't been able to take a tier 2 off the back of it. And instead, you just sit back, let Nothing to Say hit up onto his level 20. Now he's going to be able to rejoin into fights a whole lot more easily with that Keen Conveyance. Minus 0.5 seconds onto it. And he's just, getting stronger and stronger.
It's just so scary how quickly they come out of the woodwork as well. You're just
Sorry.
casually, in a lane, and all of a sudden there's a centaur blinking on you, a hook shot from the fog, and a Tinker TPing.
And this is what I was talking about when I asked for less predictable initiation, right? If you know that it can come from so many different avenues, and this is prior to Tinker getting like a Scythe of Vice, for example. Like, it can get even more treacherous for anyone on Team Total to step forward, because you've just got the potential to die so quickly in a lot of these engagements.
BKB for Wind Ranger.
5-man smoke into an Aegis.
Yeah, and this is Aegis, freshly purchased BKB Wind Ranger. This is risky business, but if Team Turtle can get the jump onto a key target, if they can find the Tinker, for example, it could be huge for them, as both teams now smoked up and some deep vision there from the Radiant placed. As Baboka and JT have wrapped around near the Radiant Tormentor, Radiant scan does connect. They know where they are, up on his high ground somewhere. They see Monet, they see Nothing to Say. He blinks away, he gets the distance. Now the turn, Baboka's about to die. Split Earth landing, but the cogs there trapping in the DK and the Razor as Monet runs straight in towards them. Nothing to Say, spamming out with the blink forward yet again, and JT trying to blink stomp. Onto the Razor again has found out Yang. Chalice dead. In comes the Tinker, spamming the laser. Someone is turning on him with the help of Planet. Pierce the Veil, but Monet with a double kill. Onto Planet will go with JT, double edging her down. And in comes another blink stomp onto Somnus. The damage is overwhelming. Nothing to Say will finally die. They clip the Tinker's wings. And Somnus, he's stayed alive. He's burning them down. This Bloodstone's going to town. Somnus, he's picked up a double kill and maybe even a triple here, but he's run out of mana. Needs to land a stun to allow the Witch Doctor to come in. Monet still here. No Aegis, no BKB though. Gotta be careful. With Somnus, his Bloodstone up. X-Nova TPing out. There's no more stuns. He's used himself. Oh my god.
But he's not unkillable, Gary. That is the big take point from this one. It was only a 4-kill streak that Nothing to Say had. He'd been building up a lot of this net worth away.
That regen rune, that's what it was.
Yeah, the regen rune, just allowing him to just stay so consistently in these team fights as well. Just backed off for half a second. And you see how less effective this Tinker is, with that pure damage when the BKBs are able to be popped, right? It was a quick reaction for him to be able to get away, but they just couldn't turn around and have that same level of effectiveness. I say that, he still did 7,000 damage, so it's not like they were lacking, but, you know, as soon as they're able to catch him out with the Yule Scepter, the thing that I was about to mention before that fight broke out is just the wording on the defense matrix with the translocator. I'll hold on to that while we watch a replay coming through here. And you just see he's forced onto the backlines really early, and it's good use of the BKBs to be able to get out of the cogs, right? You don't need to be stuck in there. You're not, you know, completely linked up next to each other. And that's the big difference maker, in my opinion. Just being able to dispel the defense matrix onto the Tinker without the fact of needing the... without needing to actually damage through it. It's the Yule Scepter that did it. So the offensive dispel component meant that he just had to cast it again. He started running out of mana, and it meant that he was having a little bit more difficulties, as poor JT dies.
Somnus was 1v4 there, and he 1v4s them. Absolutely nutty stuff.
So, just to go back to it, Tinker, let's have a hover over the translocator facet, please. When a self-defense matrix barrier on Tinker is fully absorbed, he blinks in a random direction. Now, in my opinion, with the strong dispel component, I take this to mean you need to damage through it, not Yules it off, as when it goes away, and that's why you're going for a nullifier as well on Yang. I think he's actually finished it up as well. So they just need ways to be able to get through this while he doesn't have BKB available and not able to recast it on himself.
DK though. Chalice down. Anyway, you show on the map, you're being found by G2.iG, so you can't have these split push moments. You can't be a straggler there trying to catch a wave or anything like that. Team Turtle have kind of been hemmed into a position where they have to play as 5. And like that last fight, yes, Leshrac 1v4, but that was Bloodstone regen rune going, right? What is he going to get that chance again? Probably not.
Probably not.
In addition to that, that was
control over the Turtle side of the map, though.
Yeah, that was Team Turtle having the better smoke, better scan, better read, better initiation, and G2.iG still come out on top in the fight. I guess that, you know, Aegis on the Wind Ranger was expended, but there's a lot of little nuanced factors here that's going to go into this next fight where we don't have these little additions for both teams. I think it's also nice thinking back on it the way that, yes, they use BKBs to break out of cogs, but they also use them to run away from the March of the Machines, right? Tinker spent like 60% of his mana laying down 4 marches, and they just ran away from them. Very important to reset your positioning in the fights.
Yeah.
Especially as a Witch Doctor or a Muerta who are just dying to them.
Yeah, I mean, Witch Doctor is eventually going to be able to have the Aghanim Shard for himself, though, right? Like, he's going for the Guardian Greaves, I assume, mostly to be able to remove stuff like the Glipnir from himself, just for a little bit of that dispel component. But just to be able to actually stand within a march and toss down the Voodoo Switcheroo, I think, could really catch them off guard a little bit. You know, you don't want to be recasting that that defense matrix too many times in these team fights.
Oh, family-style farming ancients. Yeah, give Baboka a bit of help. Aghanim Scepter just about done. Somnus smoked up with the rest of his buddies. And Chalice will join them as well as Team Turtle moving in towards that bottom right-hand corner of the map. As there's no Roshan for at least a minute and a half here. So they're not playing into a Roshan take. It looks like they just want to try and capture a bit of land here around the enemy ancients, so they will blink Stun X Nova, trying to get on this Enchantress to blow her up. Down he goes. Gem on the Witch Doctor as Baboka trying to escape here with the cogs blocking their path. Wrapping around though, and he's trying to pop the rocket flares here to scout them out. Nothing to say, blinking in and out. Dragonite though, he's made the jump on the JT, pops his BKB, Yang moves in onto Monet, Stampede in the wind run to try and get away, but JT's been caught up in the fear and the stuns, dead, and down he goes, and Baboka, trapped in the cage of his own design, blown up as well, has nothing to say. He's got a BKB TP. Have they got another stun to catch him or stop him? They do not, so he's in Fountain safely.
Yeah, I think they just used the nullifier a little bit too early there. Still had about a couple of seconds left on the BKB, so even if they did stun him up, wouldn't have been enough to be able to lock him down and take him out. But you just see, you know, you use everything onto him, and he's able to just get back to Fountain, go back to the top side of the map, shove in a wave. You know, it's so hard to be able to catch out this Tinker, and he hasn't even been peaking in his damage yet, right? Like, he's not yet level 25. As they find the quick burst, it's nice to be able to take away this gem onto the Ench to be able to start things off, and I honestly thought it was pretty well done by Bobica. I mean, his job in these fights is to just provide all the vision that Nothing to Say could possibly want, to be able to say, can I step into this fight or can I not? They're trying to bait out these BKBs as much as possible, and those triple rockets are getting away over the cliff. It's just that they were able to catch out JT with a lot of that lockdown. He needs a BKB for himself. He's going into the Shivas just to try and limit a little bit of the impact from the DK, from the Leshrac in particular, but beyond that, he needs a BKB desperately.
And now we've got Boots of Bearing on the Muerta as well, so even more ability here to chase into the Stampede, disengage from the March and the Machines. And good optimization coming out of Team Turtle as they to kind of tie this game back up, dead even in terms of net worth and kills. 32 minutes in, nothing in it. And game 2 on a knife's edge here, and it just feels like it's going to come down to these smoke moves. That immediate initiation from both teams. Very apparent that sneaky wards and good map control here, placement around especially Roshan. You see here that observers from Team Turtle very, very nicely placed to catch a glimpse of everybody from G2.iG. They're wandering into the pit. The sentry ward misses it. Team Turtle, this is their chance. There's a die ward up on this high ground that's going to see the Razor TPing in.
All these Shadow Blades as well. They're probably going to see DK stepping on forward.
The blink's done.
Find the initial.
They're trying to find the Tinker. Nothing to say, going to turn though, and Chalice getting blown up. He didn't BKB Yang in the mix of things here, chasing Monet. Somnus now having to run away. Team Turtle, a whiffed initiation there. They had all the room in the world. Chalice just didn't press BKB.
Yeah.
3 heroes down off of that one mistake.
He got a little bit panicked, right? You see all this March of the Machines, and you're like, oh, do I go in? Do I not? He kind of wanted to back off, not wanting the blink to be put on cooldown, and just forgets. He forgets to pop it. You know, if you're going to commit onto the Tinker like that, I feel like you really need to confirm that kill. You need to follow it up into another stun, because you don't want the risk of yourself being locked down and then they just stampede themselves away. Really quick reaction speed though, coming through from JT and Monet to be able to back up Nothing to Say. This series has really just turned into the battle of the mid laners, hasn't it, Gary? Like, just Somnus and NTS teams playing around them for the majority of it. You can see why whenever NTS is able to play the Tinker for sure. And he's got even more damage coming out now. Level 25, plus 80 laser damage. He's got the Kanda finished up, and even an Ogre Seal Totem as well. So I mentioned that would be a pretty useful item for Team Turtle to get, just so that you're not playing around the cogs, you're not wasting your BKB to be able to get out of it, but also just to be able to have that additional way that cannot be nullified, to be able to get, disengage from a few of these team fights.
And Monet has also been kind of sneakily getting up there in net worth as well. It hasn't felt like Windranger has had massive impact, very often just being chased by the Razor, walk the dog kind of thing with a static link, but now you're going to have a Daedalus soon up on Monet, so he can actually start getting on top of people and killing them off. Let's look at this, March of the Machines covering fire there, the minefield basically. An uninhabitable area of the map as they take the tier 2. Now with Aegis in hand, the entire map belongs to them.
Feels like, once again, it's their game to lose on G2.iG, but we had the same story in game 1, just
don't say that.
Kind of reverse though, right? It was the early game that they weren't able to capitalize on. This time around, they've been able to hold the fort. They've still got all of their tier 2 towers to be able to play around. They've hit level 25 first on their mid laner. More importantly, you've got that Shiva's Guard, and finally building into the BKB as well on Centaur. Plus, of course, the Daedalus that they want to use with 3 minutes left on the timer. They would love to be able to catch Planet outside of the base, and Bobica might be able to do it on this bottom side. Should see the calling here. There we go. That's going to be the gem lost as well.
Yeah, both gems being handed over in the previous fight, now into this one. Clockwork Enchantress recovering both of those gems now.
Somehow been able to play behind. Has he found him out? Oh, no. No Scythe yet. Nothing to be able to stop Somnus from getting away.
Not quite yet.
Just a 2.8 second Arcane Blink cooldown, by the way, for NTS.
No big deal.
Nope. Who cares if Rearm doesn't refresh items anymore? And how are you supposed to step into this fight? How are you supposed to use blink daggers if you've got March of the Machines patrolling along everywhere?
Yeah, I mean, you start with
Chalice didn't have BKB again.
He's just going to die again. Does get the BKB out to escape, but yeah, I don't know. These blink initiations from Chalice without BK being an indication that they don't really want to commit for it, but also you end up BKBing in the end. So yeah, kind of a wild decision there to maybe poke and prod at G2.iG. He's poking and prodding an angry bear, though. There's nothing to say. He starts to lay down even more layers of March of the Machines. And he's been pinged out. I mean, they see him. It's just a matter of how can they get to him.
They've somehow still got these wards up here. Bobika's standing right next to them, so they actually can see the entire backline from G2.iG. And they've, I was about to say caught out, nothing to say, but the blink on away.
Yeah, they'll get the D-ward now with the gem. Does move back to that Radiant Vision, but it looks like G2.iG not wanting to hard commit to this barracks. They got the tier 3, now they can move around the map and push out this mid lane, make life hell for Team Turtle as they are literally turtling back in their base. Flipped over on the back of their shell. The heroes in a half shell are going to try and hold on to this one as G2.iG have come out with an 11k lead now and back into that bottom lane. Right onto Chalice with no BKB. He's hidden away with a Glimmer Cape, I think, whatever it was, but dead nonetheless as the damage spills out from the power shot and the March. There's buyback available here for the Dragon Knight, but I don't know, just let this barracks fall, it feels like.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to be useless for the next 10-15 seconds anyway while he waits for the Elder Dragon form and the BKB to come back off cooldown. So yeah, just overstepping his bounds a little bit that time. And it feels like they really don't want to commit all that heavily onto Monet. Still got 30 seconds left on the Aegis, and he wants to make the most of it. Be the one sieging a lot of these towers as they briefly catch out, nothing to say, but 60% stats resist. Actually, they go in and find Huerta.
Yeah, Planet's dead. Has buyback. Dragon Knight has spent his as well. The Team Turtle really itching for a teamfight initiation here. You see Chalice kind of stepping up and wanting to blink in under that observer ward vision that they got down.
This ward by X-Nova was so good as well in the lane. Like, they saw that they were coming with the Shadow Blades. They saw that they were trying to engage in onto them. And they, of course, get the buyback out of Chalice. That's the big success story coming out from this. Very much different story from game one. He was dominating on his anti-mage, and now he's got basically the net worth of a Clockwork, a support Clockwork, 1, 7, and 7 on his DK. Certainly feels like a little bit of a shift in the style that's most effective for him.
Just 6 or 7 minutes ago we were saying how it was dead even, right? No net worth lead, no kill lead, it was all nice, and just that one whiffed initiation, the failure to press BKB in that bottom right corner around the Roche pit has led to G2.iG having a massive, massive uptick here as they press forward again. Moving in under Radiant Vision, blinking and stomping. Chalice dodges. JT does get the Stampede away. And nothing to say, we'll blink back into the tree line as well. Go up there on a power shot, just poking back at the Razor now. As Team Turtle, they've got to remedy the lanes. And bottom lane all the way on their base, mid lane approaching as well.
You mentioned the lanes. I really feel like the good strategy is to let them do the majority of the work, right? Like, you've built into a bunch more defensive stuff as well. X-Nova, he's got the Lotus Orb built up. You've still got the Roshan's banner to be able to play around. If they wanted to, they could play around this double siege creep wave maybe a little bit more strongly on the top side because it's going to take a little bit longer to get there, but maybe just with that no secondary life, knowing that, you know what, we still have our own scaling potential for ourselves, they want to just back off, get their tier 4 items done really quickly, and look to re-engage, because hey, you've even got a BKB now for Bobika to play around with too.
You're talking about how close he is to the DK net worth. BKB on a freaking Clockwork. There you go. And what is that? Kanda on the Tinker now. Incredible amount of burst damage. Very irritating hero to contend with in these fights now. Like, it's no longer a hero that you can kind of, ignore and kill everyone else. We'll deal with the Tinker at the end. This is now, we have to blink stun the Tinker or the fight is over. Yeah.
It really feels like, I guess they don't want to make any too aggressive moves. I mean, I say that, they might be ready to do it with the Dark Troll Summoner. I wouldn't mind if they waited for this Lincoln Sphere on Monet. He's getting pretty damn close to being able to finish it up, and you've already got a Lotus Orb. You will have a Lincoln's, you will have a Tinker with the Defense Matrix put on you. Just put the Wind Ranger on the high ground, right? Have him focus fire down these towers and take it slow. Just do it one at a time. How are they supposed to engage onto you when you've got all these defensive items for yourself? under bottom lane, just passively pushing in. I think that's why Team Turtle have gone for this smoke, but unless they catch someone instantly, like, this is going to be pretty damn obvious. Yeah, down bottom, that's why Yang needs to reveal himself, but they'll see that there's just a plasma field and Manta illusions coming out of nowhere, so just look to group up around some potential high ground vision. Xnova not putting it down just yet. To say he's going really far forward with that ninja gear.
And this is the stage of the game now where you kind of think back to the draft and consider, okay, Team Turtle have tried to defeat this Nothing to Say Tinker through gameplay, right? Through execution rather than picking a hero-to-hero counter, through that tempo they've got. But you would wish you had a Clockwork or a Zeus or a Spectre or something to get on top of him, but you do not have that gap close ability. As Sobnus, his smoke broke there. G2.iG stepping up and holding the staircase.
They want the backline smoke.
Another smoke to wrap around again. And what is it? 40 seconds for next Roshan to respawn.
Yeah.
We're currently sat
NTS.
2 minutes until nighttime. And Somnus, Shiver's Guard out, saw the march of the machines. Not able to latch onto anyone just yet. But both teams now fully understanding where each other are, right? Radiant scans, they're going to connect. G2.iG have seen them walk past. So smoke into smoke one more time. Leshrac out in the open a little bit. High ground vision for the Radiant team.
The Skeleton's just patrolling the backline, giving so much information.
He might jump this if he just sees Chalice, the sentry in the ward that gets dropped, and they saw Chalice for a brief moment there. They'll get the D-ward going. They want to run of Atos and try and catch out the Enchantress, maybe? Team Turtle needs to find the Tinker in the back. And Razor, he's gone. Both beelining straight onto Monet. Dragon Knight has made the jump. Evoker with the cogs, blocked them out. Nothing to say, blinking away. Somnus on the left-hand side trying to focus into the Tinker, who just BKBs and TPs while Yang is dead. Monet and JT get the job done. Now Picho in trouble. The Witch Doctor's falling quickly. Chalice and Somnus, though, chasing into Monet. Lincoln's has popped. Dodges away from the Dragon Tail stun, and Tinker, he's come back in, full resources, he's got all the spells, his full arsenal unlocked to blow up the Dragon Knight yet again. 70 seconds on the timer here for Razor, 100 for the Dragon Knight, and Roshan is there in the pit, just ready to be taken by G2.iG.
I'll admit it, I underestimated what NTS was going to be able to do with this Tinker. You know, I mentioned it back when it was he only had about 7k net worth, and he had just ballooned like 2,000 ahead of any other hero on the map, and all they did was just leave him alone for a couple of minutes. I thought with this high tempo draft, with being able to push in, with the Leshrac, with the DK, and honestly Razor doesn't need that many items to be able to make a lot of work happen. They would be able to take away a lot of the map that they needed to farm, kill him before he was able to get into this Aghanim Scepter for himself, and he just got into it way too fast. Like, how are you supposed to contest against this?
I'm just imagining the team comms, like how many times have we got players saying, I've got the Tinker, I found him, you know?
Nope.
You've got Yang's like, I've got the Tinker, Somnus finds him in the trees as well, and nothing to say, just jumping around, and march. Yeah, you little bastard, you're marching machines, all you want. GG called, it's over. Game 2, G2.iG's, our boy Jack Chen tying it up here in this best of 3. We're heading to a final game of the series here in the lower bracket to see who progresses through.
Typically, Chalice getting melted in a lot of these fights, and a relative lack of damage coming out from these supports.
Yeah, I like the fact that he's going to have the wolves with the swarm as well in this lane. You know, quite a bit of harassment that can come out of this Lycan Weaver lane. The other side, though, kind of passive with the TA and the Wyvern. This is, the more I see this and think about it, it's like a timing hit from G2.iG, right? Blink DK, TA with, Dragonlance Death or whatever it is. And Lycan, we'll see him with that upgraded helm probably just to try and break these towers down, crack that map open a little bit and force them back. Because if you get the upper hand at any point in this game as G2.iG, that is the potential just to snowball out of contention, because Team Turtle, they have this very weird power spike, right? Where what is it?
I'm just looking at Bobica. So he's put a sentry ward down next to this bottom tier 2 tower, so that delays the creep wave down bottom by like maybe only 3 seconds. So maybe you're saying, it's not worth 50 gold, but there was Clockwork's courier sitting right there as well, so I thought maybe he would just snipe it away. But no, he's going to be able to back off in time.
Well, it looked like it was going to scout it and the tower hits it down.
Yeah.
It didn't happen this time. But yeah, they're going to flow the game for Team Turtle. Laning stage could go pretty well for them with these very strong lanes. Viper Clockwork, Rubik Centaur can do a hell of a lot.
Those creeps.
And delay that up. And of course, we'll then have the back and forth bouncing lanes, and Baboka's going to body block it as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like kind of laning stage and then mid-game kind of weak until late game. You know, we look at this Viper kind of transitioning into Universal Hero, right? So it's a lot of choices to be made in terms of when you want to use your strengths as Team Turtle.
Nicely done by Picho to do the same sort of body block in the lane going the other way, just to make sure the wave didn't go right underneath that tower. So not going to be in a really safe spot for G2.iG to be able to play around. Wasn't able to catch him inside the cogs there on Picho. Get away with it for now. I feel like if it's getting to 25 minutes, something's gone... level 25 on the Viper, something's gone really wrong for G2.iG, right? That is not what this draft was designed to do. You're designed to hit, like, a 30-minute game is the ideal coming through here for G2.
End. Yeah. It's like second Roche, you know, minute 30, and then by, you know, minute 33, the game is over. You know, that kind of...
Is Bobika okay?
That kind of deal. I'm not sure. He's not got Shikuchi anymore. He has a Fairy Fire, back up to 140 health. Poison stacks are on him. Pichu not able to chase him, so it looks like Baboka barely survives on about 40 HP through the Tango regen. Yeah, this is a nasty lane though. And Chalice has mangoes, got plenty of regen there. Burn through the HP of the Dire team. In mid lane, Dragonite 8 and 6 against the 4 and 2 Ember Spirit. And we've seen Dragonites just demolish lanes nowadays. Doesn't matter who it is, you know. A TA, an Ember, a Timbersaw, any of these heroes that could have potentially handled Dragonite previously in previous patches now get handled by him.
Yeah, I mean, the DK Ember matchup has always been so DK-sided though, right? Like, he doesn't even need the point in the Dragon Tail just yet, and you've got a little bit more of that harassing potential through the Corrosive Breath against the Ember as well, bringing him down to just 2 armor, a whole lot more vulnerable to just dying early on, and really not too vulnerable going back the other way. Going to need to be a really, like, team-defining performance coming out here from Somnus, I think, if they're going to be able to get this win. I honestly don't even know what his itemization is going to be this game, because if you go something a little bit too passive like the Mage Slayer, I feel like that's just going to exacerbate your relative lack of damage. I mean, getting a solo kill onto Nothing to Say would feel pretty good, but won't be able to do it. He made sure not to hit him underneath that tower, just to make sure that the Flame Guard was doing the majority of the damage.
Tickle him down before those points of Dragon Blood come up. And then, of course, the third lane. Not look too much up here. TA at 9 and 0, Centaur 13 and 5. Yang coming out on top, of course, with the stronger lane against this very passive TA Wyvern lane, who need their levels, need a bit of time to get up and running. And down at bottom, of course, with all this lane shifting around, Baboka has dragged the wave around behind. Dire Wave meeting at the tier 1, so a bit of lost golden experience there for the Viper. And Wave arriving on that top Radiant tier 1 as well. A long lanes here for them to chase if they want to try and catch up to people. G2.iG, you know, they cannot play honorable Dota. They've got to pull out all the little tricks in the book here to get the laning stage going off to a good start for them.
Oh, for sure. And they should have the capabilities to do it, right? Wyvern is such more of a stable laner than she used to be. You're able to get a lot of harass off. You know, you talked about Rubik being one of those best lane traders in the world. Wyvern's not terrible these days. You might not be able to get a ton of kills, but at least you're able to harass back the other way fairly reliably.
Yeah, once every 50 seconds or whatever it is.
Yeah. Oh, they both
I guess it's not that bad anymore. It used to be really bad.
Yeah.
It used to be really bad for Wyvern. It's 26 now, huh?
Yep. And that doesn't count the time that you spent flying around as well. So it's actually a whole lot less.
Pretty good.
It's really good.
See, this is the kind of shit I'm talking about, right? You know, expectation-wise, thinking, oh, Rubik's the best trader in lane, blah, 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 blah. Nope. All these other heroes have got buffed so much, and Rubik getting nerfed and nerfed. And now the Winter Wyvern can actually fight back a little bit, more than once a minute.
As a Grandmaster Wyvern, I'm very happy with the overall changes there.
Oh, Blood Grenade down bottom with a Swarm on the walls, body blocking Picho. Clockwork. And he trapped up in it, and right-click down. Not quite dead just yet, and they can't dive fully under the tower for it.
So I'm not sure if they... Hold on, top side, Monet's getting gone on a little bit here. Maybe they feel like they can go back the other way. Yeah, but they just had the chainmail delivered recently, so Yang should be okay. Xnova actually removed his own sentry ward that was blocking up this hard camp as well. So maybe they thought they miscalculated like the amount that the lane would like shove back out to be able to you know, get this extra bit of free farm, deny a little bit more away from the Centaur. But yeah, just getting it wrong means that Yang is actually doing a pretty good job in this lane.
Yeah, I mean, this is Centaur going for the max retaliate now, right? It looks like Not going for the double edge play. You can't go and get aggressive into the TA, so just kind of farming waves and dragging it back. So him and Rubik never really pushing that wave naturally. Man, Dragon Knight.
Just swings his sword, nothing glamorous. Chop chop.
32 and 19. You know, we used to talk about cheesy heroes and Ember Spirit getting dumpstered by Huskar or Necro. But when you're being dumpstered by a Dragon Knight, something's got to change.
And
man,
you're going to be forced to respond to this as well, because nothing to say is just getting a few hits in onto your tower.
TP bottom. JT trapped in the cogs. First blood going to come the way of Chalice, it looks like there, as he blows up the Lycan down south, thanks to Planet's rotation, of course.
Nice little movement there, just to give that extra little bit of burst that they needed, but...
Yang. He's the trade.
Yeah. Sometimes things just go your way, though. Somnus was able to get the Illusion rune bottom. Obviously, Illusion, not the best thing that you could claim, but just to be able to get that refill on the bottle. Perhaps use these Illusions to be able to clear out the creep wave just that little bit quicker.
His illusions have the visual of the Flame Guard, but they don't get the damage, right?
I wouldn't imagine so, but it seems like he's got the buff for it, and it didn't seem like they were doing any damage to those creeps.
Yeah, I was trying to watch them tick down to it. It didn't look like it was doing any damage, but yeah, it's got the buff on it. It's got the visuals of it, but just pretending to be the real hero. 7 minutes, no sneaky steals. Planet and Baboki both getting their wisdom runes there.
Also, just keeping an eye on
1-1.
these jungles, especially from G2.iG, right? You're playing with a TA. You want to make sure that you're getting the maximum amount of stacks. It's Monet looking to try and get aggressive onto Yang, and it's going to allow X-Nova to move down bottom, actually. So maybe they're going to try and go for a bit of a wrap around here onto Chalice. Not quite yet level 6, though, on the Lycan, which would certainly enable that.
I still really wonder what this conversation went like. You know, Chalice is like, don't pick me DK next game, and then they picked him a Viper in game 3.
I don't know why.
X-Nova's gonna get scouted here. Picho and Chalice gonna get run out by Baboka and JT. X-Nova inside the cogs dying, and Chalice a TP. Ooh!
Wow.
Back to Fountain. The swarm was ticking on him, but he's safe and sound.
Wasn't expecting him to get away from that, to be honest, but then I have a look at his item build, just going a couple of Wraith Bands, making sure that he's able to survive through a lot of that early pressure in the laning stage, provide him some armor early on, which is the big weakness of this hero, and eventually, of course, it is going to scale as well. He needs to basically act like a turret, because he's also pretty much the only one capable of hitting into a lot of these towers as well, so it's going to require a big performance out of Chalice after not so great one that he had in that game number 2.
Oh, nearly TP'd home. The no stun gaming very apparent here. G2.iG having almost no lockdown in this bottom. Well, they don't have any lockdown in this bottom lane until Winter Wyvern hits 6, which is obviously quite distant.
Yeah.
And nothing to say. He's got a lot of weight to lift there, and he's rushing into that Blink Dagger, of course, as required.
Just keeping an eye on Bobika's quick buy as well. He doesn't have anything there right now, but he's gone... we know he's a greedy support, right? He's gone the Wraith Band just to enable, again, more of that training early on. He's making sure to build up plenty of stacks just so that he's going to continue to scale. Actually, 2 Wraith Bands as he gets the second one delivered. I really want to see him go into the Atos. Like, you need a little bit of extra control for the rest of your team. And, you know, eventually, if you do want to be a little bit greedier, you do want to scale yourself, you can just convert it into the Glipnir, right? But early on, I feel like that's just an area that they're lacking.
It's just such a massive departure from the tale we've been spinning and what we've been seeing. Somnus is bottom of the net worth of the cause. No emphasis on him, no rotations mid. Left to fend for himself. And he's pulling out all the stops here, cutting waves, grabbing runes, farming in neutral camps. Trying to get himself up to a point where he can maybe fight back a little bit here.
What? Yeah, I
He's
wonder if
level
they feel like
7.
they can go on to nothing to say
Hook
here.
shot. Straight on the DK. Multiple remnants into the cogs, and they've got this amplified damage rune still going for Somnus to slay the beast.
I just saw Picho there, like, on the far side after he placed down that Observer Ward, and they would have seen him move there as well. Planet's got an Observer inside the jungle, but maybe just not thinking he was level 6, considering it was only 9.5 minutes when he made that movement. So, very, very nicely done. And you also get a haste rune for the Ember Spirit as well.
I think he's got every single active rune so far, right?
Yeah.
He's done very well for himself.
And that
Wait,
is
what?
not
Oh,
what I was
Yang?
expecting to
A
happen.
lot of damage. Let's see if we can finish him off here with the TA chasing forward, forcing the Stampede, at least a small victory there. Somnus rotating in with a Flame Guard. And a Searing Chains to catch out X-Nova, charging straight in onto the Wyvern with his Haste Rune, but now having to retreat against the physical damage of Monet. And that'll be that. Meanwhile, Picho has died down in the bottom lane, I believe. And Weaver and a Lycan pairing up to kill him off.
Next Nova, he's just hanging around. He really wants to make sure that he can hit into this level 6 for himself as quickly as possible. Not able to get another stack off for TA. He's been able to build up a few so far this game. I really want to see just a little bit more of that presence to enable his own game somewhat. Yeah, they know
The
that...
Viper's in.
Yep.
Well, yeah, lift him back up. Keep him in the Nether Toxin. TA reasonably tanky with the Strength Treads and that Refraction, so they will come back in with the Boca to trade out 1-for-1. The Swarm? Does X-Nova have mana here for a curse or anything? Somnus is trying to get away from them, and X-Nova actually a little worse for wear, but does have that curse ready now with a mana pool available. Not going to use it. Not going to have to.
They have vision there? I'm like, just the decision to go in onto the TA was very ballsy. It was just a little bit unlucky from on X-Nova's front that he'd used the Cold Embrace onto himself just to enable him to be ready for a potential fight that was going to come out. But yeah, that meant that Monet just had nothing to be able to play around with. No curse, no heal, no nothing. Meant that Bobica was just a little bit late for that rotation.
And key items coming up. Nothing to say, Blink Dagger arriving soon. We saw the Centaur pick up his Blade Mail, so his farm can accelerate. And I honestly feel like the key one here is JT's Lycan has been left alone for quite some time. You know, killing Tower, getting a kill on Clockwork, Helm of the Dominator done, and Overlord queued up. You know, not that far away, honestly, the way he's been farming. He's gone from being like 6th in the net worth, now being 3rd.
Yeah, I mean, the big surprising thing to me, though, is that Team Turtle were able at all to get a tower at this stage of the game. They really just don't have the tools to be able to do it, but considering the timing that they made that previous rotation around the Siege Creep, picking off the DK before he was just super tanky, using 3 heroes, TPing in the Viper, they were able to secure that tier 1 for themselves a little while ago, and it just opened up the map so much more for them. It means that you're not going to be quite as easily able to make this these ganks happen with the Blink Dagger, and you can see, nothing to say, he's basically just forced to walk into the lane and reveal it, so you're not going to have that surprise factor now.
Dire's top tower is under attack. Radiant's middle tower
Might even get a
is under
second.
attack.
There's nobody coming to defend this. The
Okay if
Chalice
everyone's
Viper
on.
is busy Midasing creeps.
Yeah. Looks like they'll get a tier 1 in return. Look how quickly that tower just melted up with the Alpha Wolf, of course. It's dominated. An immediate smoke as well, looking to try and make the most out of this Elder Dragon form. No shapeshift pop just yet.
Radiant's middle tower.
Planet gonna get scouted by one of the wolves. They're gonna try and beeline for this Rubik. They're spreading across the map here, trying to catch up Picho's Clockwork. He'll die to the Dragon Knight. Chains from Somnus. Yang moves in. Out goes Baboka as Yang's gonna get demolished by the Minus Armor Melt Strike. Now Somnus, 3 remnants at the ready to jump over the terrain and get back to high ground. A little bit of distance coming now. He's gonna meet Baboka's
Yes.
Weaver though, coming back in with a bit of damage, and another Dragon Tail stun to catch out the Ember Spirit under his own tower. 1 remnant left, trying to juke them north as maybe he'll remnant south, and they're waiting on the remnant with a couple more heroes though, trying to find him as Somnus is making a great escape here. Chalice now joining in, forcing a TP out of the DK, getting turned on with a Melt
the
Strike, and the
bait.
physical damage just destroys the Viper. Face tanks it all, Somnus has to remnant back, and G2.iG really domineering this game now as the laning phase broke down. They move on to Yang as well, who's TP'd in, trying to hold the line.
They still have
down
curse
to
as
half
well.
HP immediately, and a blink stun from nothing to say. Hook shot trying to delay.
Great
Pichu buys a bit of time for Yang here as well, with Planet trying to defend this aggressive move from G2.iG, keeping the DK alive, nearly zapped down by the Rubik. Somnus comes back in. Round 4, fight with the Ember Spirit. Monet, he's looking like he might be out of position as well. Pichu makes the move forward with the cogs to trap him inside.
Who's the one in
Somnus,
danger?
half HP. Searing Chains trying to catch in the back. Turned on again with no remnants remaining. He's nearly dead. The Swarm, the Weaver kills him. But Boca picks up a killing spree, a non-stop back-and-forth fight here. But again, G2.iG coming out the victors, it feels like.
We're going to need about 50 fight recaps for this one, Gary. There was just a non-stop one, and all the while I was like, where's the Winter's Curse? When is it coming? And I'm sure that's what Team Turtle, all of their comms was about as well. They just didn't want to group up. They could never truly just rally around this Viper, allow Chalice to stand his ground and, you know, try and take away some of the threat that this TA is providing. Does have the Midas though. Start scaling for himself. He wants that become universal talent for himself, but it's going to be a long road before he's able to get into it.
Well, this is the thing, right? Like, Team Turtle, it felt like lanes were meant to go better. It's been great from G2.iG to hold their own, fight back. And now we're in a position where Team Turtle probably, you know, genuinely thinking about minute 30. You know, 16 minutes in, that's not where you want to be. You're buying a blink on a centaur, maybe that'll give you a couple of chances here alongside the clockwork to find some snipes and kills, but yeah, Ember needs time, Viper needs time, and you're looking at an overfarmed TA, a Lycan who is just shapeshifting and running at you, and hell, even this Weaver is causing massive problems.
I do like Somnus's item build. Again, though, like you said, he's going to need time. He's going for a Radiance on the Ember Spirit. Full roleplay style, you know, just all the burn, all the fiery damage that's going to be coming through. Wouldn't be surprised to see him go into like a Cloak of Flames as well as everything else. So you just want to make sure that you're breaking through that TA refraction as quickly as possible. You want to make sure you can ignore the damage coming through from the ignore the armor from the DK, and basically every bit of damage coming through towards you is physical. So just that little bit of evasion, that mischance that it's going to be providing is going to be so beneficial.
I see X Nova. Nothing to say, he was nearby. And Dire Vision, they're going to scout out Planet as well, as Stolen Shikuchi will get him across the map pretty quickly. I'm trying to place down observer wards of his own, but I think he's been scouted every step of the way by the Wolves, the Dragon.
They're just waiting for an
Sentry's there in
opportunity
range,
to do
but
Roche.
I don't quite see it.
You just fired a rocket there on Picho from the bottom side of the map to the top, potentially catching anyone in its path. He's just constantly using it because he knows how quickly they're going to be able to take this one. Might just use the Helm of the Overlord to be able to might get a D-ward here on X Nova for free. Very nicely done. Actually, a little bit of lane push being put in by Planet here just to try and divert the attention away. Is that a TP back from the TA? No. Monet was just farming. So yeah, he's just going to instantly join the rest of his team, knowing that now they don't have a tier 1 tower to be able to call in reinforcements. Alright, prediction, Gary, how long will this take to die? I'm saying 6 seconds.
4. Starting now. 1, 2, 3, 3.5, and 4 seconds.
Wow. That's why they pay you.
Oh, so good at this game, man.
Let's go.
What was it? It was 6 seconds, yeah.
It was like 10.
Whatever.
Nothing to say, he's going to Orchid, which I like, you know? You want to make sure that you're disabling the Stampede potential. So honestly, even going on to Yang, not the worst. He's only got the Blade Mail to be able to play around with, right? So just sitting on like 10 armor or so that he's got to be able to play around with, and with everything that you've got coming back the other way, you know, Orchid damage, Desolator, Meld, you're instantly going to go into the negatives just with Monet initiating onto you. And I think he's got a Blink Dagger coming out, so that's going to be very easy. Do you have a second Orchid on Bobica? I think you do.
Yeah, it's getting pretty wild out there. Good luck to the Ember, to the Viper, hell to any member of Team Turtle here. It's one of these drafts where Turtle need every single hero to make anything happen. It doesn't feel like they've got those pairings of, you know, we can play together with this hero and that hero. They'll lose Planet up at top as he gets just absolutely eviscerated.
Deleted.
Blood drained. Flops on the floor, and Chalice is being body blocked here by the Wolf.
Oh,
JT right in front of him, forcing the Stampede quite early on there. But yeah, this is a situation where G2.iG, you know, with TA +1, DK +1, whatever it might be, they'll find a clockwork and jump into the base as well. Onto Chalice, the Viper's dying. Yang's going to come in with a massive stomp to hold the back, but the Viper's still dead. They'll go onto Yang and kill him as well. This game just being turned on its head. Our high ground attempt 20 minutes in. Talking about how Team Turtle, they need minute 30 to come. Look at that minus armor. absolutely insane stuff here as G2.iG have had enough of mucking around. They want this series done and dusted.
Just
Pushing
physical
high
damage
ground and
across the
taking
board.
barracks.
It's way too much, and it's going to be quite some time until you're able to get into anything that's going to be able to, you know, restrict a lot of the pressure coming through to you. Love the timing of IG doing it as well, right? Not only was the lane already fairly pushed in, but it's going to enable them to go into this Tormentor as well. I wouldn't be surprised if someone stuck around to maybe steal away the Wisdom Rune, but I don't think it's even needed at this stage of the game, right? Much rather just push down all the other lanes. Look to use this Aegis to its fullest potential rather than spending time waiting.
I feel like Chalice is wishing he was playing anti-mage again. Because this has shades of that game one where, you know, this draft from Team Turtle, it was meant to do decently in lanes, didn't quite get off the ground. Now what do you do? You're looking at a 10k net worth lead for G2.iG. They've taken a lane of barracks, they've taken your Tormentor, they're stealing everything away from you, and it hasn't felt like Team Turtle has, like, I don't know, I guess Somnus is the big question mark for me. This Ember Spirit pick into the DK, a 92% win probability there is wild.
I'm not surprised. Like, I really wasn't a fan of this Viper pick just because, like, I feel like they picked it into what counters it. They got a little bit too close-minded around, you know, or what's good against TA. I mean, you can ban it. That's what's good against TA right now, just because it feels like an insane hero for the laning stage, for its farming speed, and it just synergized perfectly with the rest of the minus armor coming through from IG's draft. So I'm a little surprised that they were able to get away with this. More
big old items. Yeah. AC. They've got Radiance and Greaves, though, over on Team Turtle.
Okay.
14.5k damage out the TA. Lycan doing his fair share, but now an AC is going to buff that up even further. So, like, a team fight on the doorstep of the Radiant base here could just lead to game over, potentially.
Well, maybe they'll live for 2 seconds instead of 1. You never know.
With the Greaves? Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Or maybe a jump down bottom, as it looks like Team Turtle itching for a fight, catching the jump on the TA with the chains and stomp, but no commitment there. Chalice couldn't quite catch up, and she does have that Aegis as a second life. Refraction was coming off cooldown as well. So we'll see a smoke into smoke here. That's Pichio getting jumped on. He tried to break up the staircase, but they've held the ramp. Turn on the clockwork. Another good stop from Yang, though. Coming back in with Sonic. There's a curse. Nicely placed. 3 caught up in it. Pichio nearly dying, but the Greaves keeps him alive. Turning on nothing to say while Monet dropping low. First life about to drop. Aegis claimed up. There's Somnus, though, into the backline once more. Cold Embrace keeping DK alive, and they turn back. JT's dead. Yang's been traded out. Nothing to say trying to fight into the Ember now as Chalice. He's being shredded by the Wolves and the Templar Assassin. But Boca will come in to help out while X-Nova is still chasing Somnus. He's dancing, he's juking, he's jiving, but now he's been stunned. Caught up in the rod of Atos, dead and caught. 4 down. JT, the one casualty of war there from G2.iG, along with the Aegis, but it is just clean sweeping through this Team Turtle squad.
Perfect Winter's Curse coming through there from X-Nova as well, immediately after the Clockwork initiation, so they were just held in place entirely. It gave Monet the time to be able to move away from that tier 2 tower by the time the Aegis had expired. He was, you know, in a pretty vulnerable spot to be sure, but it just provides you with so much of that safety net to be able to play around with. And I mean, this net worth lead is just way out of control right now, and they're going the items to be able to close it out, right? BKB already finished up on nothing to say, getting pretty close, just 500, 600 gold away from Monet to be able to get into it, and he's going a nullifier on JT as well. So any of these, like, saving potential items that they might be looking to go for, not going to be all that successful.
Radiant are scanning.
It's just ridiculous how quickly this damage comes out as well.
Yep.
Team Turtle meeting their nemesis. G2.iG role-playing as Shredder as they literally shred through their opponents right now. They've got the claws on the Lycan. They've got the armor on the DK. The TA standing her ground. Team Turtle trying to find a little bit of wiggle room here. And nothing down in this bottom right-hand corner. No Roshan for at least 2 minutes. No dire heroes whatsoever.
I wouldn't call G2.iG the villains, but kind of feels like it are if we're going full Ninja Turtle fantasy, right? Who's Bebop? Who's Rocksteady? Who's Kang? If we've got Shredder as well.
I don't know, who's Azure Ray?
They might be facing up against G2.iG and not Team Turtle. You got to consider that first.
Nothing to say. Yeah, blinks out of there. The Wolves. I mean, it's been causing problems for Team Turtle.
Radiant's courier
Scouts them
Vision's
all out.
looking pretty bleak right now. I mean, you know, the Wolves as well just provide so much of that either ghost push or scouting potential. Like, how are you supposed to deal with everything that they've got
TA
coming at
traps.
you? Yeah.
Oh, look at that. It's like Christmas for G2.iG. It's all lit up. You've got fairy lights everywhere.
All those little spots on the map that we see there is just, oh, we see everything. And it's also, you know, a Aghanim Shard TA trap as well, so it's got the silence aspect as well.
Is that a fun little, I don't know if it's Scriff or Webpass, is that a fun little game, hovering over the TA traps and trying to connect the dots on the mini-map?
That would be hilarious if a player actually drew something with their TA traps along the map.
Or was it color by numbers? Yeah, connect the dots. Bring it all together. Baboka scaling pretty heavily now as he moves as well into that Gleipnir and closing in on it pretty quickly. 18k lead, going to become 20 soon for G2.iG. That's just that next move. Yeah, they don't have to rush into anything. They are dictating the pace of play. They can wait for the next Roshan because G2.iG have got to know if they get next Aegis, it's mega creeps, right? It's like close to game over. That 85% win probability goes to 95, 98, whatever it might be.
Even Bobica scaling, dude, he has more net worth than Yang does on this Weaver. You know, I said I wanted him to go into the Atos. He did, and then he's going to build it into the Gleipnir next. So that's, even more potential to be able to counter out something like the Stampede when they're trying to escape from a lot of these engagements that just feel so difficult already. The only other item that I could possibly want in terms of, like, what's going to provide you the most efficiency is Picho. Poor guy, he's going to get caught out saving the Atos as well, so not even going to be able to escape. I want to see a Solar Crest coming out, just for a little bit more of that attack damage, a little bit more of that attack speed, a little bit more of that armor, just to be able to throw it onto whatever one of JT's Helm of the Overlord creeps is wanting to actually siege the high ground. You know, you can let DK and the Helm of the Overlord creep do it, and just buff them up as much as possible.
Well, Somnus getting a bit of split push and farm going at the very least. Needs to share with Yang, though, over in these Ancients. We're going to see a Lotus Orb for the Centaur get finished off shortly. BKB queued up for Somnus. A Nullifier done over on that Lycan on the opposing side, though, so that's going to cause issues here for Team Turtle in their back and forth fights. They need to kind of slink away when someone gets blink stunned by the DK.
Nearly got a Bloodthorn as well, for nothing to say, so not too many things have True Strike still in this game. That is one of them. Just going to use that in on to, I would assume, Somnus, so it's going to be very important for him to... Ooh, they smoked underneath a TA trap, so they know that they're trying to make some sort of play, but again, I really don't feel like G2.iG care all that much. They're going to be trying to get down to that Wisdom Rune area by the time it hits that 28-minute mark. Might be able to do so with the TA blink coming up just around the time that it's going to spawn, so if Yang moves on forward, he's in danger of dying, and yeah, I think he's well aware of that fact.
What kind of turtles are Team Turtle? Now, we've talked about them as though they're, oh, hang on. Is that a dead Ember Spirit on my screen? He's been caught up in this Bloodthorn, Rod of Atos. The Stampede gets a little bit of distance. He's still starting stuff, and the final touch of damage there from Baboka clears him out. Now, Bloodthorn and Orchid beautifully executed there from G2.iG to get that kill.
I mean, this game, they feel like soft-shell turtles. They are just absolutely getting torn apart. There's nothing that's going to be able to protect them, right? Even the Centaur, the one that's meant to be, is just getting shredded in a lot of these team fights. At least now, he's somewhat more capable of frontline. He's got the Defiant Shell, he's got the Lotus Orb with the Plate Mail in it, he's got a Blade Mail, so decent armor, but it's gotten beyond the point where you actually care about the Centaur. You're just going to be hitting towers.
So they're not some kind of like Galapagos tortoise. They've lived too long. They've outlasted everyone, but now it's their time.
Extinct, bro.
It's their time to be extinct now. It looks like. That was something I didn't know actually until recently. Because I always thought, turtles and tortoises and terrapins were all like very distinct, different things. They're all under the turtle taxonomy apparently. As they blink stun here, Yang trying to make a move on nothing to say. Doesn't really feel the danger, the damage until that Nether Toxin and the right clicks from the Viper arrive. Monet's dead up on his high ground as well. Where's the rest of the team? The Lycan, the Weaver, the Wyvern just going to be leaving Monet here to try and BKB TP. It looks like it should be successful with no stuns through it. Okay. Meanwhile, Baboka down a bottom lane, caught up by Yang. A blink stun from the Centaur. A bit of follow through here. Gleipnir to hold them back. He's got another Shikuchi. TP at the ready, hiding in the trees, and it looks like he's just slipped out of the range of them.
Oh, the TA
Good
trap.
silence as well from the TA trap.
All right. Yeah, it's not completely secured just yet. We see that they do have the potential to be able to layer out a lot of that damage, and it really is all on the back of that Viper Strike, right? That's what breaks these days, not the Nether Toxin. So they were able to land that onto the DK. I think he ended up Dragon Tailing without the BKB up onto the Centaur as well. It was a really nice Lotus Orb from Yang to be able to reflect that back to enable them to layer in all that damage. So, you know, it's a little bit of net worth. It goes over to the Centaur, who, you know, I don't even necessarily know what the next item is going to be for Yang. Like, how are you actually going to
maybe
put yourself onto these team fights? And yeah, gets caught out.
Annihilated. Yeah, I mean, Yang had BKB queued up previously, but I don't know what the item is to save Team Turtle here. I don't know what the grouping of items is. You know, kind of wish this Ember Spirit had 3 Battle Furies and a couple of Rapiers or something like that.
Stay with me, Gary. The workhorse, the Aghanim Scepter. Put the Viper in it and drag him around and let him actually hit people without the risk of dying.
Maybe.
They're not going to wait for that time, though. They're pushing in once again. Aegis or no.
Nothing to say.
To just find these targets.
Straight in on the clockwork. Picho dead. Has buyback available. 15 seconds for the Ember to respawn as well. There's another Toxin and the damage at the time. Annoying, but a great BKB timing. Nothing to say. Presses the button.
Stun.
Gets himself out of danger. Turns onto Yang. He's dead. Centaur also does have buybacks. It looks like Turtle Team have defended their barracks, at least for now. And there's a couple of gems on the ground.
I mean, you could just go straight back in, though. X-Nova didn't use the Winter's Curse. You know, the Stampede was used, but taking it slow. I mean, really showing a lot of respect over to Team Turtle. Wanting to maybe wait for that next Aegis, but I don't know. I'm a little worried if they take it that late. Am I actually that worried?
Yeah,
I really feel like
Viper's going to turn universal.
He's 9 levels away, unfortunately.
Viper's going to turn... He's got a Hand of Midas.
Yeah, he's going to have the Skadi, which will be kind of nice, I guess, against the DK and the TA. I'm just not sure if... Like, where is the damage coming from? It really feels like it needs to all be on Somnus, and at least he's got the BKB for himself now, so he can continue trying to cut some of these waves. He'll have an escape potential, but I don't know. It just feels like even if it gets super late, I mean, TA is going to hit her level 25 timing before you do. You're going to have more refraction instances. You're going to have, you know, level 20 on the Lycan, so you've got even more damage coming through from the Feral Impulse, so the bonus damage for the Helm of the Overlord creep. It just feels like very risk-free Dota that G2.iG need to play, you know?
Well, it looks like someone's released a pack of wolves onto the Galapagos Islands here. The turtles and tortoises are being munched up as the the Lycan gets himself an Aghanim Shard. Wolves going to be coming for you. Can we see who's done the most damage, actually, for Team Turtle? And I guess across the board. 'Cause I'm kind of curious to see, like, Viper versus Ember Spirit. You know, Clockwork Centaur, these are the initiation heroes. Yeah, they're not too far away from each other. Primarily Ember Spirit there. As TA really just racking up the big numbers on the other side.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I'm trying to think of other avenues for them to potentially turn this around. Maybe,
Rapiers.
like, what if Planet steals a Winter's Curse? You know, that could be something that turns the fight around. You know, not only just because of holding the fight, not only just because of the damage that the G2.iG heroes would be doing, but it also allows you to actually just start layering in a bunch of poison attacks into a bunch of different heroes. Look at all the traps around that mid lane of Rax, actually. Like, are they just wanting them to all commit heavily into the mid Rax? All the ones that Planet were able to steal, and then they're just gonna pop them all?
Is it expiring? I guess he was using it before it was expiring, right? Just gonna plop them all down before they get found. That's pretty funny, though. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. He's got like 16 traps around mid and bottom lane.
Oh, and Chalice won't have his Skadi anytime soon as well. They sniped Korea.
That's unfortunate.
Just another thing that Weaver does well. Double hit, instant way to be able to kill it. Once again, continuing to scale. Glipnir, Dragonlance, Orchid into the BKB. Position for Weaver, by the way. Nearly overtaking every single person on Team Turtle.
Yeah, you're gonna have 4 Dire heroes up at the top, as Yang gets blink stunned by Nothing to Say. Monet's coming in with the silencers. The Stampede does come out thanks to the Lotus Orb, though, and the damage. Oh, hang on. Is that enough to catch him out? Can they follow through? The Greaves, the lift, the save, the blink. He gets out of danger just in time. They were trying to chase him down. Let's put the fear of God into him, though, and the Stampede does get used up.
Yeah. Of course, one of the other benefits of the DK is such a low downtime on that Elder Dragon form, right? Going to be up in another 15 seconds. Once again, you know that there's no Stampede available, so now's the time to be able to make this sort of play. I say that as Somnus is maybe trying to be baited here with the Wisdom Rune. Doesn't look like he's going to take the bait, though, as he used the scan just to see if anyone was moving up there. Such good presence of mind coming out from him. And it's going to mean that Nothing to Say isn't with the rest of the boys, so with the Stampede off cooldown, they're not going to be able to go up into that high ground. Again, maybe they were just choosing the more conservative route, just waiting for that Aegis. One more time, it will spawn top. 15 seconds away, but the most it can be is 3 minutes, so G2.iG are comfortable in the fact that that wave is obviously going to be the one that's passively pushing in, considering they already took the racks there. And again, they're just going for the safer route. Crimson Guard, not a bad item for Yang to be going into, but feels like it's going to get to the point where the amount that you're able to stop from actually damaging is going to be pretty insignificant, considering how hard Monet is starting to hit. He's got the Daedalus finished up now, and he's going into an Arcane Blink, just not wanting to be held back and unable to join in with the rest of the team.
It just makes the game so easy, right? When you control 80% of the map, you've got little red dots everywhere. You see everything, you know everything. Omnipresent, omniscient, G2.iG here. As Lacoste would say, oh boy, Jackie Chan, he's doing it. 30k lead, 21-7. Game 3 in a best of 3. Elimination time, as it looks like Team Turtle now going from Grim Reaper to being 1 foot in the grave. Just this final game that separates one of these two teams from that lower bracket final against Azure Ray, and that potential to head to TI in Denmark. Blink Dagger up on the Wyvern now, so even easier to try and get the catch on people.
Golem.
A big old mud golem.
Yeah, it was stealing away any farm that Team Turtle have the potential to get, right? Like, even this area, they're not safe to be able to go into. And, you know, I was talking about some of those big timings. Monet, he's level 25, so if he wanted to, he can very shortly buy up the Arcane Blink for himself. You've got the BKB on Bobika, he's level 20. Roshan's just about to respawn. He's going to be up top with a free Aghanim's Blessing, so, I mean, who are we even giving that to? Do you give that to TA, I guess? DK, maybe? Yeah, probably DK. Just to give it even more of a safe way to be able to siege up onto that high ground. Not sure if you want to shapeshift anyone.
Yang? Well, that's a choice.
Midas?
Yeah.
Sure. They're like, look, if they're not going to push into us and we can't farm anything, what's the one thing that's going to let us get at least a little bit of net worth? I know.
Oh, man. I guess experience as well. He's level 17, stuck in the base, not able to touch creeps. Give me that juicy XP. And yeah, JT also making a choice. 6 Mantles of Intelligence queued up as his next items.
Very smart boy. There we go. Nothing to say.
Well, you'd argue he's not very smart if he needs all those mantles.
You can never be too smart.
Okay. It's not something I've ever
Not wanting
had
to join in with the rest of the boys. Like, are they really just wanting to confirm this, right? They've got 2 cheeses, they've got an Aegis, they've got a 39k net worth lead, and he's like, you know what? We still need a Scythe of Ice just to confirm it. And I guarantee as soon as they get that as well, they're like, you know what? We need one other item. As Somnus actually kills the creep that he was trying to do down there.
Yeah, I mean, it's game 3, elimination time. If you want to put this one to bed, go out with a bang, you want it to be nuclear, right? You want all the biggest items you can possibly find, like a Daedalus on Baboka. He's telling his team, guys, chill, just wait. I need 3-4 minutes, I'll have a Daedalus.
He's actually
Just
I'm
guys,
not surprised.
Yeah. Guys, please, you know. Scythe of Ice recipe in the inventory there for JT, of course, as you do. Swapping things around as he spots out Somnus over in his ancient area. A quick zip away to his remnant. But yeah, top and mid lane both pushing in pretty heavily here means Team Turtle are going to come back and defend.
Here we go. Surely now. Coming in with the Scythe of Ice, with the smoke, trying to end it. X-Nova's got a Blink Dagger as well to be able to play around with, so, you know, that surprise Blink Curse initiation. If they're able to somehow get some sort of vision, maybe send a couple of wolves inside the base, just for a little bit of extra info.
Man, this is Team Turtle with a player called Planet. It's all about World Day, you know, Earth Day. Keep things green with a Viper throwing Nether Toxin anywhere. G2.iG just coming in and throwing straws, plastic straws, and those little plastic things on top of beer cans into the water. causing all kinds of toxic nonsense to the environment. And what can Team Turtle do? They get jumped on, probably just get killed off and die. Chalice, Picho, both gone. They both have buyback, but this is looking absolutely disastrous for them now. Glyph
Pop
used
the traps.
up. Pop the traps. They're being killed off. They're being destroyed by Monet. Another barracks down. There's nothing to say. Will stand its ground. Yang will blink in. The Centaur stomp on 2. The follow through, though, where is it? Monet will turn and slay the beast. The Centaur is about to die. Somnus, he does come in with the help of Picho. The Hogue shot and the Remnants over the top. Somnus BKB'd up, trying to kill the Swarm before he dies. Remnant away, gets a bit of distance. Another sleight of fist and Remnant to get out of danger. Team Turtle stay alive, at least for now. 5 heroes up, 2 buybacks expended, but G2.iG still have Aegis and Cheese. They got a barracks. They've got a double damage rune spawned at top. And Team Turtle are the ones that have to go and do something.
Yeah, and they need to do it right now, but again, they just don't have the tools to do it right. Still no BKB on Somnus for the next 60 seconds. You've got no Stampede. They're just going to go straight away. Wait for the Elder Dragon form to come back up. It's only 15 seconds away. Still has the BKB on the DK. Just put him on the front lines. Let him do all the work.
I mean, JT gonna send out his summons and wolves as well. A couple of catapults up on the front lines.
Turtle by name, turtle by nature, Gary. There's only so long that you can hold out.
And the triangle, we've got the turtle breaker here from G2.iG. Oh, Yang, he jumped in, but immediately controlled up. The cold embrace is on him. They turn on to Nothing to Say, who BKBs and TPs, I think, going for the Nightfall play to escape away. The curse was great. Somnus is going to try and chase into Baboka now, as JT and Monet a little scared about the follow-through coming in. But they turn back with Monet onto Somnus. That's a low HP TA, but holding Aegis. Don't forget that second life is available. Charge forward from Planet and Somnus, but they can't latch onto anyone while Yang is desperately trying, scrambling to kill Baboka, who gets the time lapse off. They can't kill a single hero here. Really struggling to even kill a support. Maybe on this Lycan now, JT about to fall. His BKB is up, but that's not protection against the right clicks out of the Viper. Maybe it is. The full staff forward. Finally, no, he's still alive. When the BKB ends, though, the poison will tick him down. Eventually found as Monet goes for the Nightfall himself. BKB TP out. Winter Wyvern gets caught. Team Turtle defend their base. But look at bottom lane. Who's that? It's Baboka, Baboka, Baboka. He's in there on the barracks, killing off another lane with catapults going.
Oh, so annoying. Didn't even have the Daedalus at the time. Probably will want to go into something like a Deso for himself just to enable them to hit in onto the backline. I mean, TA's gotten farmed enough that Monet doesn't even need it anymore, right? Sitting in the backpack for now, but wouldn't be surprised to see it sold up for something like that Butterfly that he's got queued up next. And yeah, just let Baboka do all the work. He's playing Rat Dota to perfection right now, and you know, we've reached that dangerous point. It feels like it's been at that stage for, what, the past 20, 25 minutes, where the net worth lead is coinciding with the time in the game, and that's always really, really bad news for the team on the receiving end.
Danog.
Gareth.
Just wait.
Okay. 3 levels away.
3 levels away for the Viper to hit level 25.
I knew what you were going for. They're even hookshotting the Tormentor. Is Picho going to die to this?
No, he's fine.
Okay.
He's got greaves from Planet, thankfully. The Hand of Midas is kicking in. 43 minutes. We've got Aghanim Scepter on the Ember Spirit. I'm a believer.
What about
I'm a believer
Midas, though?
Captain Planet and Turtle Power. Just need a bit of pepperoni pizza here.
He did it! He's gone for the hitcher ride. The workhorse, it's coming through.
Whew.
See it.
Let's see if it works out. Maelstrom picked up by the Viper now to try and push out these waves and hold on. And the workhorse for the Centaur. Let's see if he's going to grab Chalice and drag him around, because he's going to get jumped in a second now. Nothing to say. Up to the high ground. They want the buildings to get the mega creeps. Somnus, he jumps in deep here, gets hexed up. They turn onto him with Monet. Yang has jumped in aggressively here as well, eh? BKB's out from G2.iG. Shiny golden gods. Picho has gone with a great power cogs, trapping JT inside of them. Now the Viper being dragged around, the hitcher ride not working out as they expected. And now the Winter's Curse, straight there on the Centaur. The Viper will turn and hit into his friend. The poor man just tried to hitcher ride, but gets turned on with the power and prowess of G2.iG, slaying them all.
That's
3 down, no buybacks, 4 in a row. There we go, as G2.iG connect 4 to take down the tier 4 and open up the throne. That's it, game over. Team Turtle have been slain.
Oh, it took a while. It really...